Hai guys, saya Jai Android King, professional drifter, racer dan sim racer. Kalau korang mencari racing simulator, datanglah ke Android King. Kita ada Trustmaster T300 steering, Logitech G29, Simagic wheelbase, Super Street Racing Rig, triple monitor setup dan macam-macam lagi produk. Saya ingin menjemput anda datang ke Android King, nanti saya bagi harga baiknya.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to the final round of the XOX Esports Challenge, and it's a very special race indeed. Right now, qualifying is just about wrapped up, and 1XOX TKR E-Racing Team A is out front there. Ilham Glabi at the wheel during the qualifying sessions there. E-Racing Team A and Team B in first and second place. Hyperbulls X in third, with GT in fourth. Team Liberace Am in fifth place. An amazing result for them, doing that BMW all the way up to fifth. Axel Sports down in sixth place. They're going to have a wait and see attitude right now, with Lifestyle Motorsport A in team 7 in position 7, Hyperbulls R in 8th, RS in 9th, Pico Paduan Bandit in 10th place, with Sim R Garage, Sim Sports A and B 11th and 12th. The AM team for those guys are in 13th place, RSG is in 14th, and Pico Bandit is in 15th place. We appear to have 15 cars out there on track. We might see another couple more join up at the end there. So we're about to go racing right now. Before we begin, let's introduce stint 1 of our coverage. We're going to go lights to flag here, daripada start sampai habis ya. So my name is Max Palmer. With me in the studio is Encik Bob.
Ya, hai, apa khabar? Selamat Hari Raya, Max.
Ya, selamat Hari Raya. Seronok tak Hari Raya?
Oi, macam ni lah. Hari Raya kita dapat bak kata bos Bobby kita dapat berjalan ke sana, ke sini, ke sana, ke sini, merentas keluar negara. Hanya di XOX Unity iRacing.
Ya, secara virtual ya. So
Secara virtual.
saya pada hari tu saya pergi ke SRP Tokyo, lepas tu saya pergi Germany, lepas tu saya pergi banyak tempat, tetapi dalam dunia virtual. Itu yang istimewa dengan sim racing. So before we begin, a quick shout out to our sponsors. A very special thanks to them for making this season what it is, and enabling us to have this fantastic endurance race as our final round. Special thanks goes out to XOX and 1XOX, the sponsors of our series, long-time supporters of sim racing. They're absolutely fantastic to have them on board. Our racing partner is TKKR, and our event partner is Magpie. Great having those guys on board to help us out in making sure everything is right up to standard. Our supporters, Android King and Precision Sim Racing, special thanks to them, along with our media partners, Gallery Kereta.
Ya, okey Max, macam biasa, seperti biasa, kita baru start streaming ini. Kami minta berjasa baik tuan-tuan yang baru menyaksikan live streaming ini, supaya dapat like, share dan kongsikan live streaming ini di laman-laman sosial anda. Kami minta jasa baik tuan-tuan supaya dapat share. Sebab, come on lah, last round kot, season finale.
Yes, so it's not only just going to be myself, Max Palmer and Encik Bob. Kita juga ada beberapa special guests yang akan datang. So there'll be a few more special guests that'll be helping out throughout the course of this stream. We have Chan Wei Hen coming in. If you guys remember from last year, the IMC championships and the Merdeka race, he's going to come back to help us out just a little bit. Umar Aziz, also, not only manning the cameras, but we'll bring him in as well. Very experienced sim racer who's also helped us out in the post-race show for a lot of the stuff as well. We also have Kelvin T on board as well, and don't forget Michael Hafiz also will be in later in the stream, so do stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of fun right now, but it looks like the best fun on track is being had by this man, Ilham Hlabi, in pole position for 1XOX TKR E-Racing Team A. Now it looks like he's going through the Brunschwald section of the track right now, diving down towards this very difficult left-hander. Now the trick with this track is that you really do need to understand completely all 73 corners, and that's not including some of the corners where two apexes count as one corner. We're coming up through a long series of sweepers which the will end up at a corner here which is called Bergwerk. And the corner after Bergwerk here is where Niki Lauda had his accident. If you guys watch the film Rush, you'll know that, coming through almost flat out in these cars here. So if any mistake happens through here, can be very, very tricky indeed. The guardrails in this section, incidentally, were the last guardrails to be put on the track in the early 80s. Now coming out down into this high-speed left and right section here, and coming up to the, I believe it's called something like the Castle Run. And that's what we used to call it back in the day. I'm not too sure what the original name is, because like I said, I haven't quite gotten the hang of the track yet, but we are coming to a very famous part of the track here. Coming down to this braking zone, it goes away from you as you go to the right hand side here, and then you aim for the famous elm tree that is the marker for the legendary Caracciola Carousel.
Ya, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan,
tu.
finale pada malam ni lain macam sikit sebab dia tak macam perlombaan sebelum-sebelum ni. Boleh tak Max kita ceritakan apa yang bakal kita saksikan pada malam ini? Sebab biasanya finale ni mesti ada kelainan daripada yang lain.
Yeah, itu dia. So that is the track length there, 25 kilometers. This is a legendary endurance racing track, so naturally we're going to be doing an endurance race. So kita akan berlumba secara endurance. So kita akan bagi masa 3 jam untuk semua pemandu untuk drive.
3 jam?
Ya, 3 jam. Daripada perhujungan 3 jam tu, kita akan tengok siapa di tempat pertama. So dia tengok berapa driver tu boleh berjalan.
Okey, 3 jam. Kalau macam biasa kita bersiaran hari Jumaat kita ada Pro, hari Sabtu kita ada M. So kalau dalam 3 jam macam ni, adakah di separatekan ataupun kita lambakkan sekali semua pelumba-pelumba kita?
Kita ada semua sekali dalam sini sekarang. So then the grid right now, Saiful Arifin is on pole position with Jazrin Jali in second place. Govinda Singh is in third for Hyperbulls X. Pro drivers, all of them there. Sami Aizan in fourth place. Surin Salvaraju, I believe that's the quickest AM we have on the field. Team Liberace AM really bringing the pace now. Miko Nasi will start the car for Axel Sports, followed by Iman Danish who will start the car for Lifetime Motorsports A. Ayman Zubair will be driving the Hyperbulls R entry. Malvinderjit Singh will be driving the Hyperbulls RS for the first stint. Mohammed Muhaimin starts down in 10th for Pico Paduan Bandit. Taki will come home in 11th, or will come to the start, in 11th for Sim R Garage A. Wan Li Kui will start the Sim R Garage B car, and we have another 3 more entries as well. So, kita akan ada Pro driver dengan M driver sekali. So as we can see there through the list there, we've got 22 cars out on track. The Porsche is ready to go. We're waiting for the cars to load up right now, and as soon as all the cars have loaded in, yes, the Porsche is going to begin its run down the Dottinger Hole straight. We're right at the end of the Dottinger Hole. This is where the Touristfahrten section has their pits, the little parking area and the nice little cafe there. Now coming through the final few S's before the start finish straight, it's going to be very, very difficult indeed for these drivers. A clean lap is going to be absolutely essential for these drivers, and when the lap is 25 kilometers long, you really don't want to be making a mistake up in Bruchwald or in Adenau Forst. It's a very far, very long way back to the pits from those areas. So now we're about to come up to the end of the Dottinger Hole straight and in through Tiergarten. This is the final section of the old track before we rejoin on the combination circuit here. This is the Nurburgring 24-hour combination track, and now as they go past the test and development pit lane, they're going to go on to the start-finish straight there. The Porsche is going to come in, and we're about to go live right now. The lights are on, and in a few moments' time, they'll be ready and racing to go. Beautiful lineup from all the drivers there, and it's green, green, green. It's go, go, go. And Team A and Team B, the 2 Pro TKKR cars are in first and second place, nicely covering, coming down into the Yokohama S's. The cars are going 4 wide, 5 wide. Very, very difficult part of the track here to try and get right. It's like threading the eye of the needle through the Yokohama S's there, but it looks like we're clear through. Shame Aizan has managed to get himself up into 3rd place, but Miko Nasi, fantastic run there to get up himself briefly up into 4th place there. He's still side by side with that Hyperbulls car there as he's going around the Ford S's here. So very many racing lines can be taken through there, so the driver's got to be really careful going through the Ford curve. Very tricky indeed. Now they're going to come up to a section called the Dunlop curve, and a very, very difficult braking zone coming up ahead here, and it looks like the 1XOX TKR E-Racing A and E-Racing B cars are in the lead. Now coming up to the Michael Schumacher S, it should be almost flat out. Perhaps on cold tires they're going to have to lift just ever so slightly to make sure they go through there nice and clean. All the drivers are trying to make sure they get through this first lap cleanly, but as you can see they are raring to go. It may be a 3-hour race, but it looks like a lot of these drivers are going to be racing as hard as possible for all 3 hours, so that's going to be very interesting to see how they get through here. Now diving down onto the back straight here and the flat out right hand kink. Again, it's very important to get the racing line right, otherwise you'll be forced to lift, but it looks like most of the drivers getting through there nice and clear. Surin Salvarachu, he's up into 7th place. He dropped down a couple of places there, but he's fighting back desperately, trying to get past that Cayman, the Hyperbulls Cayman there. That's the Hyperbulls R car. And as they come up to this section here, instead of following the Formula 1 route, they're going to turn left onto the legendary Nordschleife circuit, and Hohenzollern is the first of the legendary S's that line this track.
Okey, tuan-tuan sedang menyaksikan iRacing XOX Unity League iRacing pada malam ini, dan ini merupakan perlumbaan yang terakhir untuk kategori Pro dan juga M pada malam ini. Okey, menarik perhatian saya SM Hobby, selamat Hari Raya. Saya kali ini saya beralih arah kepada viewers pula. So, kepada yang menonton yang ingin bertanya, berkomen ataupun nak buat jawapan Hari Raya pun boleh. SM Hobby, selamat Hari Raya. Abang Azman, Steady, Sim R Garage, Sim Sport, side by side 3 biji kereta. SM Hobbies, nak drama biar awal-awal bang. Kalau last lap drama nanti tak lalu makan dah, hoi. Itu dia 3 jam perlumbaan bakal kita saksikan pada malam ini.
So itu dia. So let's have a quick look at the top 10 right now as they're coming up towards Arenberg, which is the highest point, well, the lowest point in this section. So they go over this crest here and they're going to dive down. This is all downhill there, and oh, that's Wan Li Kui in the same garage car. He's had a big spin there, and that looks like it Flugplatz. Yeah, very, very difficult corner here. The cars actually jump almost off the track there, and if you don't get the racing line right, it's a big impact. So that's Wan Li Kui off at Flugplatz.
Aku baru je cakap komen daripada Abang Azman. Dah tercedok si orang garage. Nampak gaya tak boleh tegur lah macam ni.
So it looks like there's 2 cars that will have to go to the pits. Now this track is quite long, so if you're at the absolute end of the field and you think you can drive back faster than you pit, you'd often see drivers actually attempt to do that. They'll try and drive the cars back even if they've only got 3 wheels. But this only really works at the start of the race, obviously, when there's not a lot of traffic. But right now, it looks like 1XOX TKR Racing AM is out, and TKR Racing C is out, and it looks like Sim R Garage Sim Sport B is so far out in the pits. Now, they'll obviously try, I guess, as much as they can to try and fix the cars up and try and finish the race. The minimum requirements to finish the race this time around, they have to complete 8 laps of this circuit in order to be counted a finisher, and in the great tradition of Le Mans and the Nurburgring endurance, 24-hour endurance races, they were going to have to also cross the checkered flag. You've got to finish that final lap in order to be counted as a finisher. It's not going to be easy, but a lot of drivers are going to push and try their hardest. Right now, our top 10 for this evening. 1XOX TKR E-Racing Team B is now ahead of Team A in 1st and 2nd place. Hyperbulls GT is in 3rd place, followed by Axel Sports, biding their time down there in 4th place. But it looks like 1XOX definitely have control of this race. In 5th place, Hyperbulls X is being chased quite closely by Lifestyle Motorsports. All of those cars in 4th, 5th and 6th place very close together, and Hyperbulls are very close to the back there. This looks like the classic Adrenaline Impact midfield battle. Even in an endurance race, you're going to see a lot of action from this part of the grid there. In Team 8, Team Liberace Am, they're the quickest. BMWs out on track with Pico Padawan Bandit in 9th place and Hyperbulls RS in 10th.
Okey, Abang SM Hafiz, sangkut teruk ni, jom ke YouTube. Okey, untuk makluman tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, selain daripada Facebook, kita juga bersiaran di YouTube dan juga di Twitch. So, kita ada banyak channel yang boleh anda saksikan perlumbaan pada malam ini. So, kita bersama dengan Kevin Singh sekarang ini.
Ya, dan itu dia Kelvin De Singh really showing how difficult, memang susah juga nak bawa kereta ni secara selaju ni dekat track ni sebab dia hampir macam track rally daripada track track lumba kan.
Tapi okeylah, Tim Liberace ada sebiji BMW kat situ, kedudukan ke-8 sekarang ini. Tapi macam biasa dalam kategori ni, kebanyakan pelumba banyak menggunakan Porsche.
So itu dia. Kita juga ada mix sekarang. So kita ada Team Pro dan Team M juga yang berada di atas track sama sekali. So just to run through there, as best as I recall, Team Liberace M is the quickest M team out on track right now. 1 XOX TKKE Racing Team B is the current Pro class leader out on track. Now as they come up through this back section here, coming up towards YouTube corner, which is that camping ground that is quite famous for all the incidents. You can see the camera angle actually that right there as they come through the corners there. Very, very tricky section indeed. Every corner is blind. You really do need to have good track knowledge in order to drive through there. Right now we're on board with Mika Hakimi, driver cam, and let's see how he tackles this back portion of the racetrack there. You can see Mika is really throwing the car around here. Now, there used to be a big jump through there, but now it's a very, very bad bump as they go through the corners here. This is on the run-up to the Little Swan, otherwise known as the Mini Carousel, and Mika Hakimi in the Porsche there, I believe. He is really using a lot of rotation in the car, and what we mean by rotation is that he's using the entry oversteer, where the back end steps out a little bit, as you can see there, coming out of YouTube corner, and just using that to rotate the car. And it looks quite aggressive on the tyres, but actually it does save the tyres ever so slightly. You're definitely not working the front end too much. Now coming up through Whipperman here, very, very big jump there. Believe it or not, this racetrack, there are a couple of bumps here. There's Flansgarten, then there's Whipperman, and of course there's the famous Flugplatz, which is where one Li Kui came off the track there, the two right-handers after Flugplatz. Notoriously difficult. Now coming up through the campgrounds here, very difficult. This corner tightens up, and now he's climbing up to the little carousel. And it's very, very difficult. This corner is actually harder to get right than the big carousel because you're carrying a lot more speed going through here, and it's a lot shorter and a lot less banking. Now you've got two, perhaps three more corners to go before coming onto the Dottinger Hole straight. These three right-handers, very, very important for a good lap time before you come out onto the straight there. And I have to say, Mika Hakimi looks like he's driving that car perfectly as we go on to the longest straight in all of motorsports, Dottinger Hole.
Mika Hakimi ni kalau ikutkan, dia pun merupakan, dia memang seorang pelumba SIM, dan baru-baru ni beliau menyertai Toyota Gazoo Racing kalau tak salah aku, Max. Merupakan seorang pelumba muda, dan aku rasa beliau berbakat cerah di dalam apa jua sukan perlumbaan yang beliau ceburi. Tak kisahlah sim racing ke, real racing ke, aku rasa dia ni boleh jauh berhadapan. Mika Hakimi, muda lagi.
Itu dia. Dan lagi satu daripada pelumba muda kami, Iman Danish. Yang dia agak maybe shy sikit masa kita beraya tadi tu, biasalah keluarga baru kan, boleh dikirakan, tapi dia memang berbakat juga. In 6th place right now.
So dalam iRacing ni kalau ikutkan yang kita nampak lah, Mika Hakimi dan juga Iman Danish lah antara dua pelumba muda yang bersinar dekat perlumbaan Adrenaline Impact dan juga XOX ini.
Ya, betul. So Iman Danish ni antara salah satu yang pelumba yang agak ada. Right now we're watching Miku Nasi in this replay as they're coming down Dottinger Hole, coming into Tiergarten. Very, very difficult part of the track here to try and get right. The car's bumping, it's diving, it's weaving all over the place, and you have to brake while turning the entire time as they go through there. And it looks like Miku Nasi just about managing to keep himself up into the front of that chasing pack there. Very, very difficult section of track there. You can actually see the car. As you go through Tiergarten, you brake, and the car's moving left and right, and it's very, very difficult to try and keep the car in control. Iman Danish right now, as we were watching, in 6th place there. Meanwhile, Lloyd Lachlan for Team Liberace is in 18th place. He's pacing himself quite a bit here, and I do believe he is one of the couple of drivers who, believe it or not, are going to attempt this 3-hour race alone.
3 jam perlombaan.
So dia ni akan mencuba membawa kereta McLaren ni untuk 3 jam dengan secara sendiri. Dia tak ada co-driver untuk cuba bertukar untuk so
Kenapa jadi macam tu, Max? Kenapa dia seorang ni? 3 jam
sebab dia tiada teammate masa regular season. So kita itulah mungkin pada masa depan kita cuba galakkan ada teammate lah, tetapi malangnya teammate dia semua dekat M. Lloyd saja yang memang pakar McLaren, pakar mid-engine. So the mid-engine specialist right now, Lloyd Lachlan, he's going to attempt that race all alone, and we wish him the best of luck. Hopefully we'll catch up with him, because that must be a very difficult run there. He's not too far behind right now. Kita boleh kirakan walaupun 1XOX boleh dikirakan mengawal keadaan di hadapan, tetapi Axel Sports dah naik kat tempat ketiga. Tetapi apa yang kita kena ingat ni, race ni lah yang paling panjang dalam series ni, dan kita kena ingat dalam championship endurance ni, we really have to pace yourself. Jangan habiskan tayar ataupun minyak terlalu cepat.
Aku teringat dekat masa kitanya host SOS Raya 2-3 hari lepas, Max. So salah seorang pelumba kita kata, apa strategi abang untuk menghadapi perlombaan endurance kali ni? Dia kata kau tak perlu nak rushing sangat, kau jangan tergesa-gesa untuk kejar time sangat, kau hanya perlu finish the race, dan yang penting kau dapat banyak buat pusingan, itu sahaja. Sebab kena ingat, perlombaan endurance tak semestinya kau laju di awal-awal perlombaan, tapi kat tengah perlombaan kau dah pancit. So strategi dia yang boleh aku fahamkan adalah just relax, cool, dan pastikan kenderaan anda selamat untuk menghabiskan perlombaan selama 3 jam tu.
Yeah, so sekarang we are right now on board. We've got driver cam of Azman Abdullah on that beautiful motion rig. Sim-R garage, Azman Sim-R, they're going down through these fantastic flowing corners that make up the foxhole section. This is actually where the foxhole is, where the bombs went off during World War II. They're hard on the brakes now into a very tricky section there called Adenauer Forst. And so now we rejoin Azman Abdullah there on the roof of his car. Beautiful track here. It's actually in the grounds of a castle. It's known as Castle Nurburg, and it was one of the first truly purpose-built racetracks, and it was designed not so much for racing but for development of German cars during the interwar periods, and it's still used to this day primarily as a test track, not only for race cars but for road cars as well. Many cars that are favorites here, including the FK series Civic Type R, the Mitsubishi Evo 10, Subaru Impreza STI, and of course the legendary Nissan GTR were all developed and honed here at the ring.
Okey, itu tadi sebentar tadi Abang Azman Abdullah, kalau tengokkan sim rig dia boleh berjalan-jalan real betul baik. So dengan cerita kalau nak beli barang-barang tu pun boleh jumpa dia juga, betul
Betul juga. So Sim-R garage ni, Azman Abdullah, antara boleh dikirakan sifu sim rig yang motion sim dekat Malaysia ni. So dia punya sistem memang antara the best untuk feedback dan untuk berlumba.
Ya. Sekarang ni kedudukan Sim-R garage di belakang Hyperboost RS cuba mengajar.
Ya, dengan RSQ juga yang berada di hadapan dia juga. So agak susah. RSG, sorry.
Okey, kedudukan sekarang ni masih lagi 1SS TKKR E-Racing B dan juga E-Racing A mendominasi petak hadapan. So ini bermakna Axel Sport iaitu Miko Nasi dan juga Muhammad Ibrahim harus bekerja keras untuk mengejar dan juga memintas XOX. Ada 2 tim kat sana, tim A dan juga tim B masih lagi berada di tempat pertama dan juga tempat kedua.
Ya, saya
jadi Jasrin Jali, Abang JJ.
So Abang JJ Jasrin Jali ni dia ada satu kepakaran dia, iaitu
apa tu?
strategi. So Jazrin Jali is one of the best strategists in all of the XOX Unity League Championship. He's always been very good with his strategy. In fact, he did some fantastic thing during the AIMC seasons previously, and in last year, and also in the first season of XOX racing this season. He's been just fantastic on the pace all the time, and now he's in the lead of the race. Now, usually you'll see the guys who are really quick going out front there, but it's interesting to see that Jazrin Jali, he's definitely stepped up his pace here. Yang secret kepada sukses JJ ni, Jazrin Jali ni, yang istimewa dengan dia boleh drive to the pace. So, kalau track ni time yang cukup, lap time yang cukup untuk menang, kalau kononnya dia lah, mungkin dia kena buat 9 minit 05 saat, dia akan cuba target 9 minit 05 saat. Dia tak kisah kalau ada orang potong dia ke tak. So itulah salah daripada boleh kirakan rahsia lah dalam dunia endurance race ni.
So kita harap One XOX dapat mengekalkan kedudukan sekarang ini di tempat pertama dan tempat kedua. Tapi kena ingat kita hanya kita baru saja melepasi minit ke-16 Max. So kita ada berbaki 2 jam 40 minit lebih lagi. So panjang lagi perjalanan perlombaan kita pada malam ini.
Ya, dan apa yang menakjubkan juga, kami hanya masih berada di lap kedua.
Satu diktar ni berapa kilometer dia punya jarak perlombaan dia?
25 kilometer, bos.
Satu pusingan 25 kilometer, bye. Jauh, bye. So memang begitulah tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, kami bawakan yang terhebat, yang terpadu dan juga yang terlaju kepada anda. Malam ini merupakan perlombaan kita yang terakhir untuk kategori Pro dan juga M yang disatukan pada malam ini.
There we're having a look at Ayman Zubair there. He's gone past the car there. Looks like that car just got a little bit offline. Not too sure what happened to the car that was right next to Ayman Zubair there. That was Nigel Chua. So Nigel Chua, it appears like he's got some... Okay, so it's... that was Iman Danish at the time. Iman Danish was driving that car. Nigel Chua is in the car right now, but in this replay it was definitely Iman Danish that was driving the car there. And it looks like he had some suspension damage, which caused him to come off the track there. It's very hard to see what was happening there, but they're back into the pits. They wouldn't have lost too much time, but hopefully they'll be able to get back up into it. That's the main thing. Never give up when it comes to racing. And Kalvinder Singh goes for it through Tiergarten and comes up into third place, into a podium position there. Through the final part of Tiergarten there. If you're wondering where the garden is, it's on the right-hand side, just behind those pits there. And now as you go past the famous Tiergarten Hotel, which is part of the grandstands here, it looks like Kalvinder Singh's managed to overtake Miko Nasi there in the Hyperbulls X machine, going past Axel Sports there for third place.
Inilah Kalvinder Singh. Hyperboost kini berada di hadapan, manakala Axel Sport yang tadi seperti tadi berada di kedudukan ketiga, kini berada di belakang Hyperboost. Jarang-jarang orang dapat kita saksikan, dan aku nak tengok macam mana kebangkitan Axel Sport, Miko Nasi dan juga Muhammad Ibrahim. Adakah mereka berjaya? Kalau dulu kita tengok season 1 dan juga season 2 ni, kebiasaannya dia orang ada banyak duduk kat depan lah. Tapi season 2 ni kita nak tengok. Malam ni malam belas lah. Adakah mereka boleh kekal konsisten untuk orang kata kekal mendapatkan panggilan podium? Kita tengok malam ni.
Itu dia. So right now definitely... Oh, that's Shami Azri. Shami Azri had a big accident there. That was Lifestyle Motorsports Team B driver Shami Azri coming through. That was just on the exit, I believe. Over the crest there, getting the car very sideways. It looks like he's on the way out of the carousel, and that's a huge impact. But it just goes to show, that's the Whipman actually, I do apologise. And it just goes to show how difficult that section is. Walaupun dia nampak macam simple, corner downhill, lepas tu selekor lagi satu kan. Tetapi section tu memang susah sebab dia kena accelerate masa pergi downhill, lepas tu brake masa sampai dekat uphill tu memang susah.
Dekat YouTube aku selalu tengok banyak terbabas kat situ lah.
Ya, betul.
yang real race punya lah kan.
So definitely boleh dikirakan tak boleh malu sangat lah, sebab real driver pun kena kat situ.
Betul, Max, betul.
So itu dia. Ayman Zubair sekarang berada dalam driver cam, and let's see him tackle Hohenzollern and the first section of the old track here at the Nordschleife, coming into the first corner here, very hard on the brakes through pit corner, and coming out there, very difficult on the throttle there. As you can see the Ayman Zubair with his sort of a very smooth style being very challenged right now by the bumps that really throw the car around here. It's almost more like a rally track than a circuit, and very difficult to try and get a good setup balance through, especially this section here, Hohenzollern. Very difficult to thread the car through these sections here, and every corner is different from the last. That's the difficult part through here. Now this is an overtaking opportunity, but only for the brave. Now he's going to go over the bridge here, and this is Flugplatz. That is the crest that they're going to go over, and as soon as they go over the crest, they jump off the road there, all four wheels, and then turn in immediately into these double right-handers. That is Flugplatz, one of the iconic sections of the Nurburgring, and now the long flat-out downhill blast to Arenberg. Coming down the hill.
Tuan-tuan dan puan, yang mana nak tengok macam mana mereka berlumba, ini dia. Ini salah satu view yang kami bawakan khas untuk anda. Sekarang ni anda bersama dengan Ayman Zubair daripada pasukan Hyperboost. Di saat PKP tak ada buat apa, inilah time dia. Korang tak boleh nak berlumba kat luar, korang boleh training kat rumah, tingkatkan refleks korang dan juga konsisten pemanduan korang macam ini. Dan sekarang anda sedang menyaksikan XOX Unity League iRacing, yo.
Absolutely. A quick shout out to all the fans who have joined us on the stream there. Special thanks goes out to all of you guys for making the entire championship what it is, and it's been a fantastic championship, and this race is actually going off really well there. One XOX TKR, currently the standings are 1 XOX TKR E Racing first and second place. They're running in formation there, make no bones about it. Saiful Arifin's in second place. He has the pace to try and overtake the man up ahead. That is Jazrin Jali, who's currently leading the race for TKR Team Racing B. So the B car is leading the race right now, the A car right behind it. Now this could also be tactical as well. Remember, Jazrin, a very canny driver there. He might be helping Saiful Arifin a little bit there and trying to keep their second place in the championship as well. So the trick with what they're trying to do here perhaps is to maybe just have Jazrin up ahead and pace the two cars as they go through their laps there. So you can see quite a good teamwork happening there. Hyperbulls X is not too far down the road in third place, and Axel Sports is in fourth position right now. So the gap's a little bit bigger than they would be in a normal sprint race, but definitely still very intriguing to watch. Remember, any mistake in the pit lane, any incident can really affect the driver's performance here. And with 73 corners, and that's the corners with names, they're more like 80 apexes all around this racetrack, roughly speaking. 25 kilometers of racing going all throughout both the Nordschleife section as well as the Formula 1 circuit. It's a combined Nürburgring layout. Absolutely brilliant racing as we see right there. But any mistake and they could go off, and on a track like this it's like walking on a tightrope.
Okey, agak mencuit hati aku ada brother kita, viewers kita, Nick Muhammad Nasri. Soalan random, ada sebab ke restrict banyak conteng-conteng tulisan? Apa pun selamat raya. Ni Max, kenapa Max? Abang kita Nick Muhammad Nasri ni tanya, kenapa dekat track tu banyak conteng-conteng? Ceritakan sikit. Mungkin Max boleh tahu kenai Nurburgring.
So dekat Nurburgring ni ada satu tradisi. So there's a tradition on the Nürburgring where after the race, the fans can walk on the track. And of course, when they can walk on the track, they can take chalk with them. They've got chalk, they've got literal paint in cans that they use a brush, and they will put down any slogans that they like onto the race track. They tried to police this. They tried to keep the sections as clean as possible, but now it's just so difficult to keep fans who are exiting the racetrack from stopping and putting their mark on the track. That's they've sort of let it be to a certain extent there. So that's the classic part of the Nürburgring. It's so big that fans sneak out onto the track after the race and write down support for their favorite driver, their favorite brand of car, their favorite team. You can see their little Volkswagen roundel. This is all done by the fans who watch the race after the race there, and it's become a trademark of the Nürburgring.
Tapi betul ke dia orang kata kalau nak masuk tu dia macam touch and go, kau kena touch, masuk bayar dulu, then baru kau boleh drive in.
Yeah, so dekat track ni dia khas sikit. Bila dia tak dipakai untuk perlumbaan, dia jadi toll road.
Turut motor pun ada, kereta pun ada, bas pun ada.
Yeah.
Tak kisah apa saja.
Ya, betul. Dan dia toll road, salah satu toll road yang bukan highway dekat Germany yang tiada had kelajuan, tak ada speed limit.
Ha.
So dia boleh bawa selaju yang boleh, dia one way, dan setiap lap kamu drive kat sini, kamu pakai sistem touch and go diorang yang khas untuk Nurburgring. Top up beberapa euro, 30 euro untuk satu lap kalau tak silap.
Oh.
Dan dia boleh top up dekat gate tu. Tadi kau ternampak sikit gate tadi tu kan. Itulah dia gate.
Okey, itulah dia sedikit sebanyak menjawab soalan daripada brother kita Nik Muhammad Nasri tadi. Okey, kita teruskan ke perlumbaan Mikonasi. Dah lama tak nampak.
Ya, itu dia. Dan sekarang dia pun ada prestasi yang agak tinggi juga. So Mikonasi, they're doing very well for himself. We saw him struggle earlier on in the season, but he's definitely got the hang of that GT4 Cayman right now. Definitely doing quite well for himself going through that section there. Axel Sports right now in third place there, of course, the provisional teams champion, and they've also got Ilham Labi, who, Muhammad Ibrahim. I do apologize there, I mixed up my notes. But Mikonasi will be in with the provisional drivers champion, Muhammad Ibrahim, who will join him and will take over for this car for perhaps the second hour of the race there. But it's still going for clockwork for Axel Sports and Mikonasi. The two Hyperbulls cars are behind him, however, and it's quite tricky for the Axel Sports guys because they don't have a teammate to help them right now. They're a single car out on track. It's going to take all of their skill, courage and tactical nous to try and get themselves further up the leaderboards there. So that's how the race stands as it is now. One XOX in first and second place with Axel Sports in third, but it can all change, and it will all change at the pits for sure.
Buat masa sekarang Axel Sport dia tak ada, agak jauh dengan tim One XOX yang berada di kedudukan pertama dan juga kedua. Tetapi aku rasa benda ni masih lagi terlalu awal sebab kita hanya baru berada di minit yang ke-27, dan sekarang ini kita bersama dengan Surin Sebaraju.
So Surin Sebaraju ni pelumba M yang paling tertinggi sekarang. So he is first place in the M class, and definitely doing quite well for himself because those are the big heavy hitters up ahead. The 1XOX teams, cars cars B and A there in first and second place, Axel Sports in third, Hyperbulls in fourth and fifth place, and this man here, Surin Selvaraju, in sixth place for Team Liberace, and definitely turning on the wick. He's able to hang with the big guns there, and it just goes to show how high the quality of racing and the quality of drivers in the AM category is. They really can, on their day, challenge the pro drivers.
Okay, abang kita Syukran, because of the long race, boleh replay tak lagi insiden-insiden yang telah berlaku? So aku rasa bernas juga, tapi apa kita tengok pada abang cameraman dan juga director kita sebentar lagi. Terima kasih di atas pendapat abang Syukran.
Ya, nanti kita mungkin akan tengok in a few moments time, tetapi pada sekarang kita pergi kat subjek lain dulu.
Ya, betul.
So dekat track ni 25 km ya panjang dia. So dia memang kena plan awal-awal dia punya pit stop. So
Baik.
Cuba bayangkan kalau minyak cukup 24 km dah terlepas speed tu macam mana?
Habis ke laut. Kau bayangkan kita dah masuk hampir, aku rasa boleh dikata hampir setengah jam, kita baru 4 lap baru.
So it's going to be very interesting to see when they pit, because obviously there's going to be an advantage actually in pitting out of order. A lot of teams will employ the tactic of undercutting the entire field by coming into the pits deliberately early on their first stint, get the pit stop done and go what we call out of phase with the rest of the race's strategy. So perhaps these drivers might be looking at pitting around minute 50 to minute 55, but if you pit at say minute 45 or minute 30 even, you'll be out of phase with them, and that means you will actually be able to pit in an empty pit lane. That's super important. So if there's too many cars in the pits, you're all going to come out at the same time, and it's going to be absolute chaos trying to drive through the traffic. Whereas if you come out on a clean track, you're going through the pits on a clean track, you're definitely going to be very, very quick in comparison. So that's something that the driver's going to have to think about. So bila pit tu memang benda yang penting juga. So now we are going to head off for our first pit stop there. Right now, we're just going to have a quick look at the top 5. As it stands now, 1XOX TKR E-Racing Team B is in first place, followed by the Team A car in second place. Axel Sports in third, with Hyperbulls in fourth and fifth place. And Liberace M, the quickest AM car there, in sixth position. We're going to go for a quick break, and we will be back very, very shortly. So do stick around. We'll be right back.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to round 6 of XOX Unity League. It is me, Kelvin, here with my co-commentator and friend and brother from another mother from a different country, Javier Alvarez. Say hello, Javier.
Hello guys, beautiful to be here. Wow. So hermano, right? That's what we call it, right?
Mi hermano indeed. What's up, brother? Wow, what a race so far. What do you think about the race, Javi?
Well, we've done it many times, huh? This thing on our skippies, right? So
Oh, yeah.
we know what it is. Endurance, man. So it's all about consistency, right? And keeping it tight and safe, right? Because it's so long.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree. And you know what? How these guys manage to stay so close to each other, less than a second away after 5 laps in this grueling, huge 25-kilometer track. That means that they've raced for about 100 something kilometers, and they're still 1 second within. I don't know how they do it.
Well, I think people is taking it a bit easy, considering it's an endurance, right? Yeah, I would do the same. I think there's been some incidents though already. Right at the beginning, we'll review that eventually with the stewards. Yeah.
Wow, it's just there has been some incidents, and I think we've seen quite a fair bit of driving and accidentally hitting the wall or accidentally hitting a bump. Actually, I like what we saw earlier in the race with the McLaren, if I'm not wrong, of Juan Likoi, and also that has led to basically the Sim R racing driver hitting the wall and then spinning out, and I think he also managed to take out a few cars at the same time. Unfortunate, but that's pretty much what happens in a race, right? In this case, especially in this high stakes 3-hour long race, we will basically see a lot of things. But just take a look at race control right now, going for the in-race notification there saying incident at lap number 1 between car number 22, 16 and 4 under investigation.
Maybe review that.
Yeah. So Javi, why don't you tell me a little bit about your experiences in the Nurburgring-Nordschleife in particular? What do you feel about this track?
It's all about practice, I guess. I mean, my experience has been in open wheelers mostly, where you drive slightly different than here with your GT4s. But yeah, it's a very long track. So me personally, I don't think I know all 73. How many corners we have?
That's about 70 plus.
So, but I think the key is to perhaps know the main corners, right? That you need to know in what gear you need to be, where's the braking point, what's too much for the car to spin out, and then just keep it kind of safe. I mean, even in 45-minute races here, you're gonna keep it safe. It's also so long that having a crash will mean quite a lot of time, right? To go back to the pit if you can't drive it back. Plus then your repair. So you see there, that's like touch on the grass. Yeah, that's one of the things that happens here. There's no escape route, isn't it? If you go off, you go off against the wall. It's a little bit like in Monte Carlo, right?
Yes, indeed. And just to highlight our attention on the screen as well, right? We're looking at the Hyperbulls racing, the Hyperbull GT racing the Hyperbulls R in 4th and 5th position. And in this case, what do you think? I know that we race together each a lot lah, you and me in Hermanos, right? And sometimes we touch, sometimes we kiss, sometimes we make up afterwards. But what do you think in this situation? It's clear that they are all about the same pace, but maybe, just maybe, Ayman Zubir in the P5 position now, Hyperbulls R, looks a little bit faster than P4, Hyperbulls GT. So in this case, what do you think they should do?
Right. I mean, I think it obviously they are working as a team to go through this race. So they might be overtaking each other depending on how the cars are doing. You are right. It seems like they're actually both losing a little bit of time. I think Team Liberat says that Surrain is right behind, isn't it? They're gonna have to do something. They can't lose a lot of time because P6 is right in their backs right now.
Correct.
So yeah, maybe a swap where maybe they P5 need to go on to P4 and pull the train as long as they can cope with it. But they did a good start and they came out of it. After P6, the next guy is starting seconds away, so they have a pretty big gap there. There shouldn't be any incidents. It's important though for Suren to keep it safe as well. He's doing a good race, and he gotta keep it consistent now when he gets near those push.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to watch, right? Now, I mean, you and I, we did that before as well. Remember in our times doing the skippy races, we do sprint races whereby sometimes we get mismatched into a lower split, and then we just, you know, we trump the opposition. But you know, in those times we will stay back a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of slipstream, you give me a little bit of slipstream. But in this case, I can see that that's not really the case, because they don't seem to be giving each other slipstream, and so when I mean the P6 car is closing down at about, I mean, it was 1.5 seconds before, and it is now 1.1, 1.2. So
right, absolutely. I mean, the key here is that the faster driver need to be on the top, need to be pulling the train. However, changing positions also make you lose time. The simple fact of overtaking will lose a couple of seconds there, so they need to be careful about that. But yeah, there's a little gap now. Actually, they've created a little gap between themselves now.
yes, I think I mean, it makes sense also. It makes sense also.
7-10.
That the Porsche is a bit more agile through this place, right? And as we go down the Kleines carousel, the small carousel, and go down Dottinger Höhe, it should be quite interesting to see at the straight with the, let's see if the BMW with the mega massive horsepower can catch up to both of these cars, and let's see also if these two Porsches eventually swap position during the main straight. Do you think they will?
That's the place to do it. And obviously, you know, for Suren's here, his strategy, I'm pretty sure, is pretty much to get as near as possible before we hit the straight. And that's going to be his opportunity. It's going to be very hard though, because there's two cars in there to overtake, even though the straight is very large. The BMW will have a little bit of the edge though. It is.
Yes.
I think it is the fastest on the straight line. We're going to see shortly.
Right. So now we focus our attention on the leaders of the race. But having said that, I do think this is a strategy between the two teams. One is XOX, TKKR, B and A. In that, if you look clearly, Saiful Arifin sitting behind is not really attacking P1. He's just sitting happily, taking the slipstream, enjoying that little bit of speed and, of course, fuel savings that come with it. Having said that, these cars are GT4s. They don't have the massive aerodynamic systems that the Formula 1 cars have, right? So as you go through a bend, you don't really get the dirty air like how a Formula 1 car does. But in this case, you probably stand to gain a little bit of advantage as you have a little bit better drag down the straights, save some fuel, get a higher top speed, and maybe fight better in the later part of the track. So do you think that that's what our leaders are doing at the moment?
Well, that's what I could do. And they also have, I mean, they have a 10-second gap, which is a fairly safe gap. If they don't have any incidents and keep the pace on, they can easily take this. We'll see when we get to the driver swaps. Actually, I'm looking right now. He didn't manage to catch so much of to close the gap. Really, he's still at 1 second away. And I think there was no changes. Was there any changes?
No, there was no change in terms of the
so
position.
that's gonna be another lap. This is lap 6, which means that they're likely to be pitting next lap.
Yep.
Either next. I can't. No, I don't think they can go 8 laps. So possibly next lap they're all gonna have to pit in. We'll see that driver swap and see what happens with the next driver who'll be patiently waiting, I guess, at the pit. It's you get kind of nervous, isn't it, when you're waiting for a car? The pit.
Yes, it is.
Especially if your mate has done a good job, right? You have this extra pressure of you know, not messing it up, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think in this case, right, there is just not many difference in terms of the time across the top 6, you know. If you look clearly, top 6 is spread less than 20 seconds, so any mistakes, even in the pit, will cost them. So I think, yes, if I was the drivers, I would be pretty, you know, pretty worried myself about and excited and also at the same time a little bit, maybe a little bit fearful of what happens if I screw it up for my teammate.
Right,
you know?
right, absolutely. And also think that some of these, although we can see a lot of Porsche here, but some of these drivers had to change car for this race. And so they, for example, the Team Liberace instance where Fred had to move right into the BMW. So that's again, you know, it's a very different car, the BMW. It feels heavy, it feels safe, but it's heavy. It's very different especially to the McLaren, isn't it? Which is super agile on the corners.
But just look at the internals of the McLaren. Just look at this dashboard. look at this view that Ahmad Nabil is going through right now. Beautiful, beautiful car at the beginning of the lap, and it's just fantastic to see this from this particular camera angle as he prepares to go up to the corner. I believe is very soon, reaching in about 3 more corners. That should be quite an interesting part, but at the moment he's just alone cruising through this beautiful part of the circuit. And Javi, maybe you have also something to say about what happened earlier in the race. Did you see the feistiness of our drivers in the first lap?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it's just what all drivers have inside. That a race is a race, and even though it's a race where your first lap has to be controlled, it's kind of normal that you want to take positions, and so there were some changes in the positions, and therefore the incident. Having said that, fairly safe. We only had that incident, and cars are very spread out now, so it's up to the skill of the driver to just keep the car on the track.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, and also maybe this is to our broadcast director as well. Comment from Shukran earlier in the stream, right? Because of the long race, boleh replay lagi tak incident yang berlaku? Can we have a replay of what happened in the earlier stages of the race, or any incidents that happened? Because we obviously see some of the cars on the lead lap and making no mistakes, cleanly driving that all the way up there consistently. Like for example, RSG Mika Hakimi, which was just now around position 12, but after the rounds, after some incidents, he's now sitting comfortably in position 9. So broadcast director Cairo Alang, if you have the time, maybe we can have a look-see on what happened earlier in the race as well.
Right.
Hey, from the broadcast room, from the pits, in the start of the race, we didn't have that many incidents going on. We went through the cameras and not a lot of action for, I think because of an endurance race. They were taking it really safe. You saw them trying to get track position. Some of them came out on top, but not much action compared to the sprint races we had before.
Right.
Definitely. And if I'm not wrong, this is the beautiful voice of Umar.
Yep, that's my update from the broadcast room. We'll join you guys more later.
Thank you, Umar.
Thanks, Umar.
Having said that, if there's a chance for us to look at some of the incidents, because I believe some of our viewers missed the start, if there's a chance for us to have a look-see, we will surely be happy to take a look and maybe analyze them a little bit down the road. But just now at the moment, let's focus on this beautiful and listen to that fantastic engine cresting across. And I believe he is already very near YouTube corner, which is really interesting. I mean, everyone knows YouTube corner. If you don't know, go to YouTube and type YouTube corner. You'll see what happens. Oh, but in this case, he's already going down the crest and hitting YouTube corner about next.
So, what about those single drivers? I think we have a few people driving the whole 3 hours.
Yes, indeed. I think that's quite a fair bit of difficulties in terms of driving that, right? What do you think, yourself?
Yeah. I think to keep the focus for 3 hours in a track like the Nordschleife, where you have to be tiptoe every corner.
Yeah.
It's very hard. I mean, it's already hard to do a stint. Yeah. So I can't imagine doing 3 hours. Here we go. We have a review of the replay of the start.
Yes, indeed. And indeed, like what Umar has mentioned just now, it is a clean getaway for all of the cars on lap 1 of the Nurburgring 180 minutes endurance race here. I think there was incidents a bit later in the lap.
Incident. Yeah, there was a slide with Lloyd there with a little touch.
Yeah. Yes,
But
indeed.
nothing major. There was a major incident of somewhere. Not at the beginning. I think about 8 to 9 minutes into the race when Nigel went off.
Yeah, not just that as well. We had also an incident whereby one of the cars actually spun, and during the rejoin itself touched another 2 or 3 more cars.
Right.
That was also an interesting incident as well, as it is. I believe I attribute that to different cars and different gearboxes, because if there were a case whereby the McLaren actually spun, it would be quite difficult to recover from that, because the McLaren weirdly does not have a clutch. It's a full DCT whereby you just have to, I believe this is it, yeah. So this is Leong Mun-Fai in the Porsche, who went off the grass, touched the walls, came back on, slammed hard into the wall and just stopped on the track. As we can see that it's not done though. He's stuck in no man's land where he cannot do anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is just unfortunate that he managed to accidentally touch the other cars as well, because this is the part where it is critical. And oh, that's another different incident from Bobby Farid as well, Boss Bobby, as he touches the wall and oof,
What's what happened?
bounces back onto the circuit.
Okay, so that's actually a common. We've suffered this ourselves. As you go up some of the hills, in cold tires, if you don't release your throttle on time, your front wheels will lose grip.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened right
Yeah.
there. As you regain the grip, you're already looking in a different way, and then you go against the wall.
Yeah, I remember I did that to you yesterday.
Yes.
Sorry, the day before.
Yes, it is very common, and so you have to identify those little hills, those little changes of altitude, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So yeah, I mean it's a challenging circuit, and to think that you have to focus 3 hours on the race.
I think at some point, some of the iconic corners, you just do them by muscle memory. It's almost like rally. You know what's coming two corners down the line.
And what is happening? What is happening with this this interesting vehicle cutting across the track with wheel damage, I believe.
Yep.
And that is a massive hit on the rear wheels of the car. He cannot. I mean, there is no traction, then there's no steering because the wheel is just pointing in the wrong direction. Pardon me, and careening across into the track. Wow, what a bizarre incident.
Okay, so we see quite a lot of drivers pitting. It would be good to see in the standings how many people pitted already. But yeah, this is lap 7, which most drivers who didn't have any incidents would be pitting right about now.
Yes, sir. So now take a look as Shamil Aizan and Aiman Jibril duels for the position, and it is apparent. So Hyperbols has gone past and taken the position ahead of the Hyperbols R car just now. So this is indeed a position swap, and let's see if this continues on, or will they activate their pit stops and go for the pits? What do you think? It's about maybe at most 1 or 2 more laps. Right,
yeah, so I think one will be right there. If you look at Soren pitted, however the top 5 didn't pit, they'll have to very likely pit in this next, which is the end of lap 7. I don't think that they can go 8 laps in one stage. We'll see. Depends how they drive though. It'd be risky though. It's a very long track. You need to make sure you have enough fuel to actually make the 8 laps.
Yes. And if you don't, wow, the toll bag is just.
Also, some drivers might pit early purposefully, to not pit with everyone else at the end of lap 7. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So I want to keep our eyes on the front pairing as well. A brilliant drive from so far Jazrin Jali as well as Saiful Arifin here. Let's see. Basically, they have a pace advantage of around 3 to 4 seconds per lap over the rest of the team. But we look at the lap times right now as Saiful Arifin clocked a 9:02.7 last lap, which is currently the best. I wonder, and I'm trying to think, is this their strategy? Is this the time where Jazrin Jali in the XOX TKKR E-Racing Team B will let the Team A car through and take the lead of the race? Because he has been towing his teammate for about 1 hour now. I mean, since they started 1 hour ago, both of them are still half a second away from each other. So is this finally going to be the lap where they tow each other? I wonder, and I'm thinking maybe it could be true. So what do you think?
Well, like I said, if they go and pit at the end of this lap, they probably don't even have to swap paces anymore, since they're gonna change to two different drivers.
All right, and we see.
Yeah, we can see them getting very near now.
Yep. And that is a pit stop from teams Hyperbulls PR as well as Team Liberace AM as they go into the pits. But just looking at the standings alone as well, it seems like some of the cars are a little bit particularly more heavy in terms of fuel consumption compared to some of the others. Maybe it's because of driving styles, maybe it's because they have a tow, maybe it's because of some other reasons. But you see all of them pitting at different times, taking on different fuel loads moving into the race. So this should be rather interesting to see as we move into the first third of the race, close to about 1 hour finished so far. So Javi, why not you tell us a little bit about yourself and how do you start sim racing in the first place? And sorry, before we go into that, just cut you off a little bit. I wanted to inform that there is a race control message whereby incidents at lap 2 between car 4 and 16 is under investigation. So back to you, Javi. How did you start your sim racing journey? And was it something that you did before in London or in Spain before you came to Malaysia?
I used to do go-karting for a couple of years. We had an amateur league back in Spain, but at the time I didn't have a simulator neither. It was only when I came to Malaysia that I actually started with GTS, with Gran Turismo, yeah. And the community it's big in Malaysia. It's nice, there was quite a lot of little sports tournaments happening, and that's how I started. Eventually I had the itch of coming into PC and see what's happening, and I started with iRacing, which is not really the norm. It's just, if I was to start all over again, probably I wouldn't start on iRacing. But yeah, it's just how things went, and this thing keeps growing. Once you start doing this, it becomes like a hobby that eats so much of your time doing it.
Interesting thing that you said there, Javi. Like when you said you wouldn't start with, there might be an incident here. Let's take a look. Is that the car of Afiq Fadlan Afar overtaking Lloyd's McLaren? So I wonder where the incident is. Maybe it's soon to. Ooh. Right. A strong performance from Afar on the track so far. But just wanted to ask you as well, right, Javi? Interesting thing that you said just now about not starting with iRacing. Why would you say that? And would GTS be a better platform to start? It's not, having said that GTS is now part of the Olympic selection as well, right? So maybe you have something to add there.
Yeah, there are obviously different. Everybody knows there are different types of simulators in the market, and we could call them all simulators because they all try to simulate racing. Physics are very different. But GTS is let's say the low cost barrier entry into sim racing, where you can almost simulate what we do in iRacing on a much let's say budget. Also it is slightly, I wouldn't say easier. It's just different how you race around and how the physics work. Now, not coming from real racing, iRacing can be a bit intimidating. But if you're looking for esports or if you're looking for competitive racing, there is really nothing else like iRacing out there, which is something that we also would like to see in other sims. I think we've been talking about this for ages in our streams, where we want to see other sims like AMS, like R Factor, to come into a system right like this, where we can compete as well. So I don't know. I think if I was to start all over again, I'm not sure I could use this as a starting point. When I started, also AMS was not there. R Factor was not populated. Very different sims though. R Factor is still the king of physics probably, but yeah, there's just not enough population, isn't it, to do what iRacing can do.
Yeah, and to my understanding, coming from experience as well, sim racing is pretty expensive. Although I must say, shout out to our sponsor, one of our sponsors here, Android King as well. Probably you can get some good deals from them, but having said that, still sim racing requires some level of commitment. But I do want to echo what Tengku Jan said in his video during the Dunia Virtual Racing clip, of which if you have not seen it, I urge you to come to Adrenaline Impact or Gallery Curator to take a look at what he said, which is that no matter how expensive you think sim racing, and there's just a slide off into after the kleiner carousel, which is small carousel by Shamil Aizan, maybe pushing that a little bit too much there. But going back to what Tengku Jan said there just now, Tengku Jan said that, I mean, no matter how expensive you think the equipments are, sim racing is still cheaper than real racing because you can just do so many more laps compared to in a real racing situation. And as we predicted, Javi, there is a driver swap that happened between the two teams. I mean, the X1XOX TKKR E-Racing Team A and Team B, as the Team B guys drop in for a fuel and tires, and the Team A guys go on for another lap. Now, I foresee this will happen again next lap, perhaps.
Yeah,
When-
I was next stint. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's see what's gonna happen as everyone is diving into the pits right over here. It's now 1 hour on the clock. That means we could potentially see one more pit stop at least for the cars to come into the pits for their next stints. So I'm guessing everyone has pushed to the maximum, and this is now time for a driver swap around.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting strategy from 1XOX.
Yep.
I was not really expecting that.
I was thinking that was going to happen because one car has. I mean, there was no attacks down the straight. There were no attacks into the corners, and one car is pretty much in front of the other for a long time, giving the other one more lap and just a little bit more in terms of fuel and in terms of ability to push on for one extra lap, right? So I see this happening again the next lap when they finally pit. I cannot think that the A car has more fuel than one more lap. Perhaps that will be just one more lap before finally E-Racing A will pit and come out. But I'm interested to see really that who will go into the front and who will tow, which member will tow the other in this next stint. Will it be the opposite way around where Team A will tow Team B, or will it be the same way, or will that strategy go out of the window now that their nearest competitors, Axel Sports in P3 right now, has also emerged with a driver swap with our current leader Muhammad Ibrahim taking the seat?
Yeah, so we have still Team Liberace haven't pitted yet. I think may not reach the pit yet. It's in the straight now, so he's gonna pit probably right after this.
So, comment from Danish Iman as well. Danish, one of our drivers in the series. I think he's just taking a break here. I assume Iman, you need some help here. I think maybe you should try drinking some water. Dehydration is not good for you, bro. Oh yeah. As Max Verstappen said, remember to hydrate, rehydrate.
Rehydrate, yes.
Yes. Oh yeah. What do you think, Javi? I mean, some of us are running. I understand you are one of the drivers that run both VR and screens as well, right? So you have both. And I've heard people saying, myself, I only run VR. I don't have a screen in front of the rig itself. But you have both, and some have said that it is very tiring driving VR for prolonged periods of times. And since you have both, maybe you want to care to comment about of driving, especially long endurance races, using a screen versus using a VR. What do you say?
Yeah, I probably would do it on the screen. It can be very tiring after 40-45 minutes, even if you're used to it. You tend to, or I personally tend to race better on VR because you are more aware of your surroundings and you know exactly where your tires are going, and you can be more precise over time. However, yeah, anything over 40-45 minutes, it's just hard, you know. You get sweaty, and that make you tired, which eventually leads to mistakes as well. Um, I would definitely always go on a screen, yes, for an endurance race. But
Interesting.
for any,
Interesting that you state that, huh?
uh, it's hard. I mean, I've tried it and I had a very bad time when I did it. So my last endurance race was actually I moved it into the screen, and even though I am a bit slower, I probably drop a second or two per lap. But in a track like this, but I can go for longer, and I think that's the key because yeah, costly mistakes because of getting tired. Yeah, it's very tiring over 40-45 minutes. Yeah.
Interesting that you said that. I wanted to ask when you drive on your VR, I mean for the long stints, do you have an like air conditioning on near you?
Yes. So I have my aircon top on and a fan. Yeah.
And still you say you're sweating, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's you there's this rubbery type foam, right, that you have in your forehead.
Mm.
I think that the set is fairly much attached to your head. So it's just the heat really because uh you grow your VR legs, or what we call VR legs, as you use VR. We call VR legs the fact that you don't get dizzy anymore. The first few times when you try, it's just slightly dizziness, right? Because it's tricking your brain, but you're not actually moving. Then is what we call to grow VR legs. It means you can go for a long time on VR without getting dizzy. But the problem is the heat. I had very funny moments. One more thing that I can tell you is that the sneezing on VR is not a good thing. Yeah.
I see, I see. But you know what? Having said that, I agree with you in terms of the heat and the fatigue, right, that comes with it. Also, to me, maybe for me, like maybe I only do races at most like 40 minutes to less than 1 hour, right? Like remember our skippy races and stuff. Those are at the end of the race. It is quite hot, and your eyes do get a little bit blurry, right, due to the proximity of the VR lens itself. But would you say using the same, how would you adjust, Javi, between driving on VR and then switching over to the screen? How would you adjust? Because I don't think it's easy to adjust, right?
It is not. The problem is that the more practice you do on VR, the less you want to go into a screen because it's quite different. Oh, we see there a little touch on the grass.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, and I believe that it's a damaged car. And off
We
it went. And that is Mika Hakimi in the RSG. He was doing such a good race until this incident happened. Now let's just hope that there's no one else behind him. But in this case, the next car behind is around about 30 seconds away. So I think he is pretty safe for now. Let's just hope that there's no damage on the car. And just going off into the grass again. See, this is a very difficult stage, right? Because you want to go fast. Your instinct as a driver is that you want to drive faster. You want to go fast, right? But in this case, you really don't know if your car. Oh, and he just slams into the wall once again.
really trying, but he cannot drive it back. He has to.
Yes, yes. And I see, like, I mean, like I was just saying, as a driver, the natural instinct for you after a crash is that I need to drive faster, right?
You need to recover the time you just lost, right?
Correct. But the tricky part is you don't know what you hit, and you don't know if your steering is compromised, or like what just now Hakimi did just now, RSG P10 and was running P9 earlier. I see the wheel trying to turn, but it's just the car is just not turning, right? In that case, that is probably some damage already done to that car after the multiple little touches there. So it is a very tricky case indeed, lah. I think sometimes it's just very tough to be in a situation. I don't envy him because it's just so tough. You want to drive faster as a racing driver, but you have to look out for the damaged car due to the incidents. Have you had a situation like that before, Javi?
Yes, yeah. It's just your instinct. Like once you crash, once you lose some time on the lap, you want to recover it as soon as possible, and you have to be aware of what just happened. That you just crashed, and those little taxis against the wall, they keep accumulating. To the point that you can't just fight it back. Of course, he was trying. You could see he really wanted to at least drive it back, right? Because you save a lot of time if you can drive it back to the pitch instead of going for the pit to bring you in. But it can be dangerous even for other guys coming behind as well. So I think he did the right thing by, going back to repairs.
sending in the iRacing Flash tow truck. It can tow you away from the track and your debris in the flash, but then will take 10 minutes to get back to your pit box, right?
Yes, very interesting.
In this case, now we're just looking at Ibrahim, and we now have the car of Saiful Arifin into the pits. And in this case, stopping at the first box there. This will be a huge chance to see what's going to happen in the next 1 minute or so. Let's see if the Team B car actually catches up in this lap itself, and let's see who remains in front. But having said that, it is very close now between team cars number 2 and number 3 as well. So, let's see if this strategy works for them. 7.2 seconds between team number 2, P2 Jazrin Jali, and P3 Muhammad Ibrahim. Alright, the stop is now ongoing for the first position car. First, just now driven by Saiful Arifin, now swapping over to Ilham Halabi for the second stint of the 3-hour endurance race going on at the Nurburgring-Nordschleife. So, Javi, yourself, your experience in... there we go. There's the car off into turn 1 of the circuit, and with the P2 car just a little bit behind, it seems like Team 1, with that one extra free lap, has managed to make up some time in this. What do you think of this situation happening right now?
Yeah, just about a minute. Also, it's just natural if he's faster to just do this. We'll see if we can catch up back. I mean, just ring.
Yeah, I mean, as what Max has said earlier. What am I saying? As what Max has said earlier, right? Jazrin Jali is someone who can drive to the lap times that he needs. So he is an intelligent driver that can adapt to the correct strategy to make sure that he and his team can win. So is this part of the strategy, or is this part of teamwork between the two one XOX teams to ensure that they lock out the front row of the race? So let's just see what's happening in the future of the race so far. What do you think of the race so far, Javi?
Yeah, halfway in already, almost. It's been good, and to be honest, I was expecting more incidents on the first lap. So right now, it's all about keeping that consistency. There's so much space right now. Very likely to have an accident with someone else in.
Yeah. Having said that, I do want to commend all the participants and drivers in the series, right, for working so hard to improve their racecraft. Now, to the uninitiated, to everyone out there, you may think that this is driving around in a virtual track on a virtual car on a sort of real steering wheel that costs so much money for some reason, right? But these guys spend a lot of time. I would say really, really huge ton of time practicing, making sure that they deliver this consistent performance lap after lap, turn after turn. And I can see some of our guys there, I mean all of our guys here, they are acquaintances of us, they are friends of us, and we know them, we race with them. The time that they spend, the dedication, the equipment cost, the subscription fee, the track fee, the car mastery and time taken to practice for one session is huge, especially on this circuit, which is so big and so wide, right? But Javi, you're not a stranger to this yourself. You have done multiple endurance races as well as a lot of sprint races. What usually goes on in your... let's look at an incident here with Afiq Fatlan Afar braking, going into the carousel and exiting the carousel. The car behind it is Pakvinder Singh in the Sim R garage car, just running a little bit wide, and as a result probably going to incur some locking up into the wall, probably going to incur some huge time penalties in terms of repairs for that particular car. But going back to what we were saying just now, Javi, what do you think, what goes through your mind when you are practicing for a race, practicing for an event? What do you usually do?
I think we approach it like a race. Even being an endurance, you just want the fastest lap possible, the fastest pace, consistent pace. Uh, there's so many factors to look at, to be honest. You know, you need to think of the beginning of the race when you have all tires, when you have a full field car that is heavy, and you just keep adapting. I think one of the things that the Skippy teach you is how to go from a very shaky car on lap 1 to a very safe car on lap 6 or 7. And what it is that every time you go through the line, through the cross line, the car feels a bit better and better, and your times start to go down and down. And there could be a 3 second gap in between. And it's something that doesn't happen with all the cars. It happens a lot with open wheelers, definitely with the Skippy. But yeah, that's the mentality, understanding when are you gonna be uh, pushing, when are you gonna be taking it more slow for the sake of finishing without crashing the car. Yeah.
Right. And also for, I mean, just the question to our viewers out there. To those of you that want to see open wheelers, skippies, put a comment. Maybe we can do a fun race together. Maybe it's time for us to do a cute and competitive sprint racing series with the skippies. If you want that, leave us a comment, like, follow, and share, and subscribe to Vertex Esports as well as Adrenaline Impact for this XOX Unity League. More action to come in this race. Alright, so we're gonna go for a quick break and then we'll come back with different commentators. So thank you for staying with us. It is me, Kelvin, and my partner here, partner in crime, brother Hermano, sim racing partner, team, team partners as well. So glad to have you. Javi, ending sentence before we knock off for today?
Awesome. Thanks for having me here. I'm not normally around. I'm always at the back of the house, as I say. But thanks for bringing me in. And yeah, let's continue with the race. There's still another half to go, and yeah, let's do this.
Thank you so much. So we will be off for a break, and when we are back, more action continues on track. If you are just tuning in to us right here, remember to like, comment, share, follow Vertex Esports as well as Adrenaline Impact for all esports related and especially on racing related incidents as well, and in action all over. And if you are just joining us, take a look at the first 3 positions, because after 1 hour and 20 minutes, they are just still around 12 seconds away. So that's all from me, Kelvin, and I will be signing off with my partner Javier today. We'll see you later at a future race. And stay tuned as we continue the action on track, but we will be back with a different set of commentators sometime soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening and welcome back to the final round of the XOX Unity League Challenge for the Pro and Am drivers. We're here 21st of May 2021 on a Friday. It's a beautiful race right now. The TKKR teams are running 1 and 2, but we do have a giveaway prize for the viewers. As usual, we have a Android King shifter for one lucky winner this evening. So remember to like and subscribe to Vertex Esports and Adrenaline Impact, and to like as many of our partner pages as possible in order to win this prize to improve your chances. But all you have to do is to tag 3 of your friends and answer this very simple question: how long is the final round of the Pro and Am category for the XOX Unity League Challenge? How long is the race, is the round 6 race for the pros and amateurs?
Okey tuan-tuan, ini dia giveaway kita pada malam ni. So, soalan dia berapa lamakah perlumbaan pada malam ini dijalankan? Sim Racer kasih mari. Max, Macil, dah ada ke belum simulator mat ni?
Ya, Macil dah ada.
Kita boleh bertanding ke Macil?
Kita tak boleh tanding lah. Kita kompetitor. Sekarang orang cakap apa, menipu, kroni kan.
Yalah, tak apa. Ini kita bagi untuk viewers je.
Soalan paling senang, ada jawapan pun sekarang dah ada pun dekat depan mata. Jawab. Share, like, komen, apa yang benda yang perlu tu buat je untuk dapatkan hadiah-hadiah ni yang memang berbaloi-baloi.
Ya, in bahasa Max, in bahasa apa soalan dia tadi?
Okey, so berapa lamakah perlumbaan round ke-6 untuk kategori Pro dan M untuk XOX Unity League Championship. So yang last round ni berapa lama race dia? Dalam jam. Lupa nak cakap. Dalam jam.
Senang je.
Berapa lama dalam jam Jangan bagi dalam minit. Soalan jawapan pun dah ada. Memang soalan bocor teruk ni. So
Dan dia soalan matematik je.
Betul.
So ingat ya, tag 3 kawan dan dalam tag 3 kawan tu bagi jawapan dia sekali. So answer the question, make sure you tag 3 of your friends in that answer and share that sim racing love around for your chance to win an Android King Shifter.
Aku dah nampak dah jawapan dia, tapi itulah step dia, korang kena ikut step dia dan baru kau bagi jawapan dia sekali.
Ya, kalau tak cukup kriteria tu tak dapatlah kita nak ucapkan tahniah, okey? Kena cukup kriteria yang diperlukan baru boleh dapat hadiah. Memang jawab tu adalah satu tugas, tapi ada lagi kriteria lain yang perlu dilakukan untuk mendapatkan hadiah tu. Benda free, geng.
Kerja dia pun sikit je. So answer, lepas tu tag 3 kawan, tu yang penting tu. Lepas tu like the text and adrenaline impact.
Okey, apa pun kita ingin mengucapkan terima kasih lah kepada pelajar kita sekolah tadi. Teruskan.
Apa penaja kita
baru nak intro.
Okay, boleh tu. Okay, Matt, silakan.
So, my name is Max Palmer and with me in the studio is Encik Bob macam biasa dan juga kita ada Michael Hafiz. Kita havoc sikit, kita ada satu geng masuk dalam studio. Studio betul pada malam ni.
Kita bertiga malam ni Jarang-jarang berlaku tu.
So,
dia tak boleh selalu bang. Gangbang tak boleh selalu.
Dia cakap bos saya.
Okay, sekarang di skrin ni adalah tim Hyperboost kalau tak salah.
Dia orang pun tengah berjalan, boleh dikira team orders. So kereta 4 ke 5. So dia orang tengah, kita boleh nampak Aiman Jubir tu kat belakang tengah cucuk angin kereta depan. Memang teamwork sekarang. Teamwork
memang nak menjimatkan minyak, menjimatkan tayar. Kereta belakang tu mungkin boleh lakukan lebih lap dan lebih kurang mengurangkan lagi tire wear disebabkan boleh brake awal dan juga boleh draft. So dia akan bertukar posisi.
So ini dikirakan dua-dua kereta ada kepentingan yang sama lah. So macam kita tengok macam Kelvin cakap tadi in the first stream there, Kelvin mentioned that TKKRE Racing Team A and Team B, they were running Nusutil Jazrin yang bagi drafting jadi drafting partner kepada Saiful Arifin. So sekarang bila dia dah tukar dalam pit tu, kita nampak yang Saiful Arifin boleh jalan lagi satu lap, 25 km lagi jauh dia boleh jalan. Hanya daripada drafting saja. So mungkin kalau kita tengok kat sini, mungkin dia orang akan cuba taktik yang lain sikit untuk cuba tarik dan memanjangkan masa untuk dua-dua kereta.
Okey, nak tumpang tanya ni, kalau macam Hyperboost, Samir Aizan dia akan berkongsi dengan Syaril Nurfuddin ke?
Ya, kalau
dia berkongsi kereta.
Ya.
Aku nak ada satu soalan aku nak tunjukkan kepada Macam Hafiz. Okey, chill. Sebelum ni Syaril Nurfuddin dia menggunakan jentera BMW. So, kalau W1 pada malam ni mereka menggunakan jentera Porsche. Okey, soalannya direct. Ada banyak tak cabaran bila kau dah mahu BMW? Hari ni kau kena berkongsi kereta yang lain daripada kau bawa. Ada banyak tak cabaran dia?
Kalau ikutkan memang permulaan memang ada cabaran lah sebab karakteristik tu berbeza, tetapi perlu diingat mereka ada 2 minggu waktu free untuk praktis. So dalam 2 minggu tu diorang ni pro semua, sekejap dia nak adapt. So pada chill mungkin sampai ke hari perlumbaan, hari race ni mungkin tak ada masalah besar sangat lah untuk Syaril Nurfuddin aka Pingu kan.
Malam ni dia bawa Porsche.
Bawa Porsche.
So dalam kira experience Michael dalam real life lah, dalam MSF dengan MCS tu, bila tukar jentera tu kan, kalau dekat real life tu dia punya waktu praktis tu sekejap je, 30 minit je yang boleh dapat untuk praktis. Kalau dalam situasi macam tu memang susah ke?
Tak susah sebab normally semua kereta ada steering, ada tayar, ada shift knob kan. So bukanlah kata kereta ni pakai handle, kereta ni pakai steering, tak kan. As long as kita tahu basic driving, kita perlukan sedikit masa saja untuk adapt. Mungkin braking kereta tu dengan power kita tu, tapi selalunya kalau professional driver ataupun pelumba yang berpengalaman, within 2 or 3 laps rasanya dia dah dapat cara dah untuk bawa kereta tu. Cumanya untuk mendapatkan optimum timing, itu mungkin ambil beberapa masa lah.
Betul. Itulah dia sebab ini dia kita bersama on board bersama Syaril Nurburgring. Sebelum ni kita dah saksikan beliau memandu jentera BMW beliau, cuma pada malam ni memandu Porsche. Max, malam ni yang aku nampak cuma ada tim Liberace seorang je yang menggunakan sebuah jentera BMW. Mana BMW lain?
Itu yang pelik sikit. Saya teringat kalau ada mungkin kemungkinan besar yang tim-tim BMW ni akan keluar dekat track Nurburgring, sebab dengar cerita daripada forum apa semua, BMW ni dekat Nurburgring senang nak drive, tetapi mungkin pada race ni, sebab semua orang nak menang race ni, semua orang ada feeling sebab ini boleh dikirakan race yang paling besar dalam season. So mungkinan
point
besar
paling
dia
banyak.
So itulah kemungkinan dia nak cuba push untuk menangkan race.
So semua pakai Porsche. Okey.
So Matt, Michael ada satu lagi soalan nak tanya Matt. Sebab Matt ni berpengalaman dengan track-track ni kan. Kenapa track ni ada banyak contengan dekat dia punya jalan tu?
Tadi pun ada orang tanya. So dia boleh dikirakan tradisi. Asalnya dia orang akan cuba mengelakkan ada conteng dekat track, tetapi sebab track ni besar sangat, fan yang pergi tengok race tu, dia kena naik dekat atas track ni untuk jalan balik rumah kalau dia pergi dekat tempat jauh. So bila kamu benarkan fans ataupun penyokong-penyokong naik dekat track ni, kadang dia akan bawa cakur ke apa, cat ke apa kan. So dia orang letak semua message yang untuk sokong tim pasukan dia orang yang dia orang paling suka, ataupun driver dia orang paling suka, ataupun brand kereta yang dia orang paling suka, dia orang akan conteng dekat track sebagai expression lah. So sekarang
nak pergi juga lah, nak conteng juga lah. Nak sign kat sana.
Itulah. So sekarang dah dikirakan tradisi. So dia orang cuba juga nak buang mana-mana heavy braking zone ke ataupun tempat yang perlukan grip, dia orang akan buang, tapi kat tempat lain dia orang akan biarkan je lah.
Maknanya kalau masih stay lagi banyak lagi contengan masih stay tu, maknanya track ni tak selalu lah resurface kan?
Ya betul. So last dia orang resurface tu pun sebab track ni panjang sangat, kalau nak resurface 25 km tu dah sama harga dengan nak buat highway Guthrie kalau silap. So dia orang akan buat section demi section per section. So setiap 2 ataupun 3 tahun dia akan buat mungkin 1 kilometer.
Okay, macam pun dah try dah track ni beberapa kali hari tu saja test try kan. Tapi memang panjang gila lah. Memang perlukan fokus, memang perlu hafal track ni. Selalu kita track 5 kilo, 6 kilo dalam 15 corner. Ini ada 25 kilo, ada berapa corner, Matt?
Lebih daripada 70 corner. Officially
70 corner.
Yang bernama tu 73, tetapi dekat setengah tempat macam dekat carousel ni kan, selekor sebelum dan selekor selepas ni tak ada nama. So mungkin ada lebih.
So mungkin kita boleh namakan kalau ada apa-apa tragedi lah kan. Kalau ada tragedi melembu kat situ, kita boleh jadikan corner lembu. Kan? Tapi tadi untuk permulaan tadi rasanya ada beberapa accident. Dia nak keluar balik ke belum?
Ada beberapa yang keluar balik, tapi yang sekarang dalam pit RSG dalam timing screen kami out di tempat 19. Sidewinder Racing pun out, TKKR Racing C pun out, dengan mod XOX TKKR Racing M out. So ada 4 kereta yang luar daripada track. Sidewinder Racing still ada repair, masa repair, so dia orang akan cuba keluar lagi. Tetapi agak sedih juga sebab Mika Hakimi dalam RSG tu, dia salah satu daripada pemandu yang cuba strongman-kan race ni, tetapi masalah ni kereta dia banyak sangat masalah. Kita pun boleh report yang Miko Nasi baru report balik yang dia cakap ada mistake sikit masa buat pit stop. So ada kemungkinan besar yang tayar diorang masih tayar yang sama. daripada stint pertama. So dia orang dah double stint tayar yang sama.
Oh,
walaupun
memang
dia-
satu disaster lah sebab sayang kan dah stop, dah si minyak semua tak tukar tayar. Rugilah sebab tayar tu efek tu endurance kan.
Ya.
Tayar kereta yang laju, lepas tu panjang, track panjang, corner banyak. Memang
Tapi ada juga upside dia punya pit stop tu kurang sikit lah masa.
kurang masa. Yelah, dia ada pro and cons dia lah. Tapi apa tu pun
Memang bahaya lah bila kira. Grip kurang.
Grip kurang. Dan kereta ni pun power, rear wheel drive.
So for now, just for those of you who've just joined us, a special thanks to our sponsors TKK 1 XOX and XOX, Android King Precision Sim Racing, and Gallery Kereta with Magpie as our supporter as well. But for now, let's have a quick look at the standings. We're past the halfway point. We're in fact 10 minutes past the halfway point of the race. And so far, 1XOX TKK E-Racing, Team A and Team B, first and second places, with Axel Sports in third, not too far behind. They're still 7 seconds behind, which on this track and in these conditions, not a lot of time indeed. In fact, it's gone down to 6.9 seconds. So the top 3 are covered by about 12 to 13 seconds. Hyperbulls R and Hyperbulls GT are 4th and 5th, followed by Pico, Paduan Bandit in 6th place. They are now the fastest, I believe, AM drivers out there on track. Hyperbulls RX and Hyperbulls X and Hyperbulls PR 7, 8 and 9th. They're getting closer and closer together. I'm pretty sure they're going to try and get all 5 cars in one group. That would be the ideal for the Hyperbulls team. Sim R Garage AM is now in the top 10 place, just ahead of the Pro Team Liberace car. That's the other car that's going to try and strongman the race, and that is Lloyd Lachlan there, trying to do the entire race on his own. Fyrus Fudzil there, doing quite well for himself. So that's the man there, Lloyd Lachlan, attempting the race solo. Lifestyle Motorsports B is in 12th place, followed by Sim R Garage, Sim Sports A, Team Liberace M, who were doing so well at the start, but they've dropped back a little bit. Lifestyle Motorsports A, Sim R Garage, Sim Support B, followed by Usin VTEX and Pico Bandit, the last car still running on track.
Bukan senang Max Lloyd Lachlan nampak gaya dia berlumba kesorangan, dah masuk ke minit 1 jam 41 minit, tapi beliau masih lagi fokus berada dalam perlumbaan. Bukan senang juga kalau kau nak drive seorang bila kau tak ada second driver.
Ya, dan dia berada di tempat yang 11. So 3 jam tu boleh kirakan agak lama. Kalau Michael, kau rasa boleh tahan tak 3 jam bawa kereta ni?
Boleh fokus tak Cil? 3 jam fokus je.
Dia ada setengah race macam dekat Sepang kita ada minimum minimum masa untuk stay dan maksimum. Tapi untuk ni untuk endurance kali ni dia still pit in. To pit in tu dia rehat lah. Tapi 3 jam kalau real race car 3 jam agak penat sebenarnya.
Lunyai.
Tapi tengok kepada energy dan juga stamina driver tu lah. Ada driver yang 20 minit pun dah penat. Ada driver yang sejam 2 jam pun boleh tahan lagi. Tapi kalau dalam sim racing ni mungkin dia tak adalah menguji fizikal sangat kan. Tetapi dalam masa 3 jam tu mesti nak terkencing apa semua kan. Tapi harap-harap sempatlah waktu pit stop tu. Tapi memang sebab macam siapa Lloyd Lachlan tu dia memang alien. So mungkin dia boleh tahan, kita tak tahu. Ataupun kalau dia penat sangat dia rehatlah kejap kat pit stop. Apa dah hal kan?
Betul tak?
Itu dia tuan-tuan dan puan, dalam banyak-banyak tim semua orang dia ada rakan segandingan dia. Cuma seorang pelumba kita ni Lloyd Lachlan saja yang memandu kesorangan, tiada pengganti.
Ya, so tadi kita ada juga lagi satu kenderaan RSG Mika Hakimi, tetapi malangnya dia out sekarang. Di dalam
Mika Hakimi seorang juga dia tak ada second driver okey.
So itulah strongman kami pada malam ni. Kalau tak silap, SM Hobbies pun ada lagi satu wakil strongman, tetapi malangnya tak dapat join pada malam ni. So harap-harap nanti SM Hobbies boleh join, Syukran nanti boleh join kat season yang kehadapan, mana tahu kan. So Iman Danish ni beautiful overtaking maneuver there. Memang fully committed dekat dia masuk dekat line luar. Itu boleh nampak beza speed pro dengan M driver juga. Iman Danish ni kita nampak dia mungkin ada sedikit incident pada awal race, tetapi nampaknya macam pace dia semakin lama semakin meningkat ya.
Ya. Iman Danish mewakili tim LMS. Okey, sudah memasuki
seorang
minit
pemuda seorang pemandu muda yang berbakat
Ya, muda sangat ni, muda.
Memang betul-betul mudanya. Baru PMR rasanya tahun ni ke tahun lepas.
Tu dia agak baru juga. Bagi Michael, aku rasa boleh tak memakai sim racing ni sebagai teknik untuk cari bakat, macam dulu kita pakai go-kart untuk cari bakat motorsport.
Betul.
Kalau dekat sim ni kau rasa boleh cari bakat tak, macam Michael Iman ni, kau rasa boleh tak didik dia dan bagi dia masuk dalam motorsport?
Boleh. Sim racing ni boleh dijadikan first step untuk para peminat yang ingin berlumba secara betul, untuk belajar teknik dulu. So bila dia dah tahu teknik macam nak braking, nak throttle, okey, kita boleh serap dia kepada go-kart. So dekat go-kart pun dia dah boleh cut sedikit masa pembelajaran tu. So lepas tu dah feel speed dekat go-kart tu. Kalau ada modal, ada support daripada mak ayah ataupun tim-tim yang ambil, so boleh teruskan kepada kereta yang betul.
Tapi nampak gayanya dia sim pun ada, dan kemampuan untuk training go-kart pun ada, dan aku rasa kereta lumba pun ayah dia tak lama lagi akan wasiatkan kat dia kot.
Rasanya kalau tak salah, sebelum puasa lah, sebelum PKP yang baru-baru ni, ayah dia dah bagi dia bawa dekat track Sepang dah. Kereta ceret tebu tu.
Kalau aku jadi dia kan, kalau aku jadi dia, bah, saya nak kereta yang sekian dia, aku dah siap pilih dah mana satu aku nak.
Tapi bapak dia mengajar Iman Danish ni supaya bukan dengan jalan mudah lah. So kena lulus dulu exam dengan cemerlang, barulah boleh cerita, baru boleh sembang. Bapak dia cakap lah kan, bapak mana tak sayang anak.
Tapi itu yang kalau tak silap yang dia dapat bawa syerit turbo Apple tu sebab dia selepas dia cemerlang dalam exam dia kan,
betul,
baru dia dapat drive. So, itu pun bagus juga sebab dalam motorsport ni antara satu benda yang paling penting ialah disiplin. Bukan saja disiplin timing, tetapi nak kena sampai dekat workshop kat masa ni, nak kena submit sampai dekat pit kat masa ni. Lepas tu dalam race tu dia kena ada disiplin dan dia kena ada knowledge teknik. Kalau kita nak set up pun itu ada matematik, ada banyak skill yang kita ambil daripada sekolah yang kadang-kadang kita fikir perlu tak kita kena belajar benda ni, tetapi ada juga dia punya manfaat. So penting jugalah sekolah.
Nak jadi racer ni kena pandai juga. Bukanlah kata hidup-hidup je turun race, tak, kena belajar. Sebab apa, nanti bila interview kita nak kena bercakap, kita nak kena bagi fakta apa semua kan. Dan waktu race tu ada kira-kira. So kita nak bagi feedback dekat mechanics pun kenalah feedback yang betul. Dan janganlah mechanic tanya what's your feeling, macam mana macam ni, nak jawab pun tak tahu macam mana mechanic nak bagi setup yang betul kepada anda. So pelajaran adalah penting juga.
Dia sahabat siapa ni? Iman Danish.
Ya, Iman Danish sekarang di belakang dia ialah Sim Garage Sim Sports A kalau tak silap. Ni yang tim yang Azman Abdullah drive dan dengan teammate dia Roy Charles kat belakang kalau tak silap. So sekarang dia orang tengah battle. Parvinder Singh aka Roy Charles.
Kali ini dia cucur rapat Iman Danish yang berada di hadapannya. Roy Charles mewakili siapa garage. Sekarang ni cuba mengejar Iman Danish yang berada di hadapannya mewakili Lifetime Motorsport tim A, perebutan tempat ke-13 di antara Iman Danish dan juga Roy Charles ataupun Parvinder Singh.
Roy Charles ni dia bawa motion, dia dalam rig motion tau.
Baru dapat tu, baru beli tu.
Dia memang gempak. Dia ni upgrade sikit-sikit daripada daripada dia main GT Sport dulu, dia mungkin rig yang biasa je. Lepas tu dia upgrade kepada direct drive, lepas tu dia upgrade kepada motion. Memang tak tahulah, duit dia ni memang tak habis kot.
Tapi kita boleh nampak tau sebenarnya Roy ni dalam masa 2 tahun ni perkembangan dan juga aktiviti sim racing dia ni banyak meningkat tau. Satu lagi sebab ialah barang pun dia upgrade. Tak boleh follow bye.
Tak boleh follow. Kereta racing sebenar dia pun kita tak boleh follow.
Ya,
Simulator
betul.
lagilah tak boleh nak follow. Aduh, bila lah.
Tapi
Bila nak boleh kalahkan Roy ni?
Tapi itu Rochas yang aku kenal lah dari dulu. Itulah dia.
Dia seorang yang jenis tak boleh kalah. Kalau kalah dia akan cuba cari kenapa. So apa terjadi dengan Syami?
Syami Azri terkeluar daripada track.
Lepak pergi beli kok kedai Aceh. Tepi tu ada kedai Aceh ke?
Itulah. Mungkin ada either masalah brake ataupun masalah steering, so mungkin dia tengah nak struggle nak cuba fit balik, ataupun mungkin ada masalah dengan simulator dia sendiri. Mungkin
dia pakai VR. Selalu VR ni ada masalah disconnect view ke apa ke kan. Mungkin tak tahulah, itulah. So mungkin Syami boleh bagi tahu dekat ruang komen apa yang terjadi.
Okey, minit ke 1 jam 50 minit. Kedudukan terkini TKR E-Racing A di tempat pertama, E-Racing B di tempat kedua, SS Sport Muhammad Ibrahim dan juga Mikolasi di tempat ketiga, manakala Hyperboost R di tempat keempat, Hyperboost GT di tempat kelima, manakala Pico Padawan Bandit di tempat keenam, tuan-tuan.
Itu dia.
So kalau ikutkan Mac, endurance ni apa yang penting adalah konsistensi kan.
Ya.
Kalau kita tengok macam tim yang dah out tadi, mungkin mereka terlibat dengan pelanggaran. Jadi sangat perlu untuk mereka berhati-hatilah untuk pada waktu permulaan kan.
Ya, yang saya boleh nampak tu bukan saja daripada konsistensi, tetapi pandai taktikal dan pandai berjalan di dalam trafik. So maksudnya bila nak potong, kalau ada lap car tu, bila kita nak potong, mana yang tempat selamat nak potong. Sebab track ni banyak tempat yang memang tak selamat nak overtake, tapi ada banyak tempat yang kalau ada peluang yang selamat, dia boleh overtake. So bila kita belajar track Nurburgring ni kan, bukan saja kita kena belajar racing line, tapi kita kena belajar dia punya plan B dekat track ni. Macam mana nak kawal.
Racecraft lah maknanya. Racecraft pun penting. Bukan saja perlu membuat perlu memandu dengan laju selaju yang boleh, tapi racecraft tu pun penting. So bukan semua tempat boleh potong, bukan semua tempat boleh nak melembu kan. So kena berhati-hatilah, pandai sendiri lah. Dah besar.
Itulah. Dia kena fikir sendiri. So walaupun dalam team yang mungkin ada 2-3 kereta di luar sana, tetapi dia kena fikir on your own. So kalau ada masalah ke depan tu, dia punya reflex tetap kena cepat. So that's the main thing. Dia tak boleh drive 100%. Kalau kita tengok Jazrin tu, kereta tu melompat dekat selekoh tu. So dia kena back off sikit kat situ, 90%, 95%. So kalau ada kesilapan sikit, dia boleh kawal balik. Itulah salah satu daripada teknik dalam endurance racing ni. Bukan saja nak jaga kereta, tetapi nak jaga plan B lah, contingency.
Contingency plan, ya. Masih lagi mendominasi One MCS TKR. Kedua tim A dan juga B ni masih lagi mendominasi tempat pertama dan juga tempat kedua. Nampak gaya kalau tadi dia orang ni masih orang kata saling bergandingan. Kali ni dah agak jauh dan juga SS Sport cuba mengejar Abang JJ yang berada di tempat kedua sekarang ni.
Ya, tapi nampaknya Ibrahim sekarang dah jumpa ada juga pace dalam kereta tu, walaupun kita boleh nampak daripada luar yang kereta tu sliding. But it looks like he's catching up quite a bit as well there. So right now, just before the 2-hour mark, it's 1XOX TKR E-Racing Team A and Team B first and second place. But Axel Sports, it looks like they're catching up. They can now see the car ahead. So dia boleh nampak kereta kat depan tu. So the chase is on lah, boleh kira kan. Walaupun kereta tu mungkin dah kurang grip, tetapi dia still somehow dia boleh cari pace dalam kereta tu.
Kalau
itu
boleh lah,
aku nampak dekat Muhammad Ibrahim ni.
Kalau boleh nak minta dekat cameraman kita, kalau boleh naik helikopter lah. Bosan lah tengok yang ni je. So boleh dapatkan view helikopter daripada atas.
Ini dia
Daripada atas nampak satu track kalau boleh. Jauh sikit helikopter. Kita tengok track ni,
observer.
keindahan track ni macam mana kan. Alamak, helikopter yang kita sewa kali ni tak berapa mahal. Track besar sangat. Jadi helikopter kita boleh terbang ketinggian 200 meter saja. Mungkin DCA tetapkan peraturan tu kan.
Nah, itu masalah dia punya lesen tak belum up lagi.
Lesen belum up. So inilah ada pandangan daripada atas. Memang banyak pokok. Indahnya track ni. Mungkin sejuk kat sini. Itulah beza track ni dengan Malaysia. Sebab tu kereta yang laju dekat sini dan boleh tahan dekat sini, tak sampai Malaysia tak boleh tahan. Contohnya macam Honda Civic Type R baru tu. Dekat sini boleh buat fastest timing lah, apalah, 1 lap Nurburgring. Tak ada masalah temperature. Sampai dekat Sepang tak sampai 1 lap temperature dah naik terpecah.
Aduh. Awak bukan pakai kereta tu, Acil?
Tapi kereta tapi macam pakai dah upgrade sistem cooling semua. So bolehlah belasam 4-5 lap, tak ada masalah.
Ini secret kalau kereta daripada Nurburgring tu, kalau kita pergi kat track lain memang banyak benda teknikal yang kita kena fikirkan. Walaupun road car pun ada juga benda teknikal yang kita kena fikirkan. Macam kalau Evo bawa dekat track ni memang out. Tetapi kalau Civic Type R yang boleh lagi laju daripada Evo kat track ni, kalau pergi kat track Sepang, bukan kira laju tak laju, tetapi dia punya cooling system kena upgrade dulu baru boleh
Kena
dia
upgrade. Sebab tu bezanya antara track ni dengan track tempatan kita. Track ni dia distance dia jauh. Jadi bila lah katalah panas, kereta tengah panas dekat bahagian sektor 1, dekat sektor 2 ada track dia adalah panjang. So cooling system kita efficient untuk menyejukkan. So dia boleh turun balik sampai ke sektor 3, mungkin sektor yang banyak corner, yang tight corner akan panas balik. Tapi sektor 4 dia panjang balik. So mungkin sebab tu kereta-kereta production boleh tahan. Tapi bila sampai kat Sepang, segala antara corner 1 ke corner 2 ke corner 3 pun tak berapa panjang. Tapi bila sampai sana, lepas tu corner balik. Jadi kereta tak sempat nak sejuk, dah corner balik dah. Tapi raving tetap tinggi kan. So itulah beza dia.
Okey tuan-tuan, anda sedang menyaksikan XOX Unity League iRacing. Dan sekarang ni aku tengah tengok, tadi aku tengok dekat YouTube, dan sekarang aku berbalik kepada Facebook kembali. Okey, yang mana menyaksikan live stream ini, kami minta jasa baik tuan-tuan dan puan-puan supaya dapat sharekan live stream ini di laman sosial anda. Boleh tengok kembali ke Facebook. Dan kita ada bersiaran dekat beberapa page. Kalau korang nak berinteraksi dengan kami, kita ada Max, kita ada Michael, dan juga saya. Boleh berkomen kat bawah ni. Kita berinteraksi dengan viewers kita pada malam ni. Okey, kita boleh kembali ke Facebook untuk chatting kat bawah ni. Apa yang Max boleh jawab, Michael jawab.
Ni driver cam siapa tadi tu? Nabil.
So sekarang Abang Nabil yang dia dalam kereta, kita nampak segelintir tu sekejap. Bila Nabil tak ada dalam kereta, dia ada dalam bilik. Abang Nabil tu dia ada dalam bilik tu, still on the rig, still working with Aiman Zubair in order to get the setup right, to get dia punya taktik apa semua. So dia jadi macam crew chief dia masa dia tak masuk dalam itu. So dia ada 2 benda yang driver boleh fikir. So fretting now.
Okey, ni promo kita daripada Brunei fretting
Dia baru saja memotong SIM A Garage SIM Sports A. So entry yang ke belakang tu daripada Roy Charles. So fretting naiki lagi 1 position, walaupun kereta BMW dia nampak a little bit second hand kalau orang fikir cakap, tetapi masih laju.
Max, a little bit second hand Aduh. Okey, sebentar itu kita masih lagi mencari pemenang jawapan soalan tadi. Berapa minit giveaway pada malam ini? Berapa lama jangka masa perlombaan pada malam ni? Jawab.
Jangan lupa share dengan 3 kawan dan like and subscribe to Vertex dan Adrenaline Impact. Dan ingat ya, waktu tu dia dalam jam, bukan dalam minit.
So kalau jawab dua-dua macam mana? Jam pun jawab, minit pun jawab. So kita bagi
selamat.
Ni driver siapa pula ni? Driver cam ni?
Ini baru Aiman Zubair. So Aiman Zubair sekarang dia cuba adjust Ini yang boleh dikirakan benda yang agak susah. Bila terpaksa nak adjust something masa dekat straight. So Dottinger hole ni, ini saja straight yang boleh dikirakan straight yang paling panjang dalam motorsport. 1.2 kilo sebelum bridge ni. Flat out boleh dikirakan 1.3, 1.4 sebelum braking zone. Dan itu je tempat yang dekat track ni yang kita boleh adjust apa-apa, adjust brake balance ke ataupun apa. Tapi kita boleh nampak Aiman Zubir tu dia struggle sikit sebab itulah kesusahan dalam kereta macam ni, sebab dia sentiasa kena adjust something. So dekat button box tu dia mungkin ada brake bias ataupun something else yang dia terpaksa adjust tu. Itu yang susah tu.
Ya, betul. Macam pun pernah dengar daripada Wak Tempe. Kalau anda kenal, Wak Tempe adalah seorang pelumba profesional negara kita. Memandu banyak kereta yang sebelum ni dengan tim Petronas, sekarang dengan tim Works Engineering. Dia cakap pernah dengar lah cakap, so macam share kat sini. Dalam kereta tu sebenarnya tangan ni tak senang duduk sebenarnya, sebab nak adjust brake bias lah, nak adjust itulah, adjust ni, sebab button banyak dalam kereta canggih ni. Kereta racing ni canggih sebenarnya. Macam kereta kita tu memang ada aircon je, kita adjust aircon radio. Tapi dalam kereta racing ni nak adjust brake bias, nak adjust, nak full boost lah, nak trigger high boost semua kan. So banyak benda. Tu yang dalam kereta racing tengok tangan driver tu tak menang tangan sebenarnya. Memang kena pegang steering, satu tangan lagi kena adjust benda-benda lain.
Itulah sebab yang steering F1 zaman sekarang tu pelik sangat sampai dia bertumbul-tumbul dengan butang tu. Last kita kira ada dekat steering Lewis Hamilton dalam pasukan Mercedes dekat F1 tu, dia lebih daripada 25 butang yang kita tahu. Tambah lagi ada butang secret kat belakang steering yang dia tak bagi kita tengok.
So dalam kereta racing ni boleh tukar map, boleh adjust macam-macam. So itu adalah strategi masing-masing lah kan.
So sekarang Muhammad Ibrahim berjaya keluar daripada pit dengan harapan dia tayar baru dan juga fueling baru. Tetapi nampaknya Nazmi Mazli hampir memotong di sebelah luar tu, tetapi
ni best tengok ni best tengok ni.
Berjaya juga
antara Muhammad Ibrahim dan juga Nazmi Mazli.
Dia tayar baru, dia happy ni tayar baru. So dia ada grip.
Sebab tempoh hari aku pernah tengok Nazmi Mazli dia side by side dengan Excel Motorsport ni. So kita tengok pada malam ni.
Itu dia. So fun fact juga, kalau korang tak tahu, track ni sebenarnya antara track paling tua di dunia. Section Nordschleife ni yang dekat bukit ni dengan pokok-pokok yang agak cantik ni, dia berasal daripada tahun, kalau tak silap, 1923 ataupun 1924. So sebelum Perang Dunia Kedua.
Adakah dia memang track ataupun sebelum ni dia adalah jalan raya biasa?
Dia sebenarnya track, tetapi dia
memang track
tetapi dia punya fungsi, dia ada dua fungsi. Dia sebagai race track dan juga test track. Tetapi masa kalau zaman 80-an, track ni tak popular sangat untuk berlumba sebab safety dia kurang sikit, barrier tak cukup apa semua. So
tapi
dia orang buka kan,
dia yang ni track ni boleh dipecahkan supaya dia jadi track kecil ataupun track besar kan, sebab tempoh hari kita ada main untuk yang luar saja kan, kalau tak salah aku.
So yang kat starting dekat area pit tu, itulah track F1. So bila F1 pergi dekat Nurburgring ni, dia orang tak dia orang tak pakai full course Nordschleife, dia pakai F1 circuit saja, F1 loop.
Ya, betul lah. Sebab tu nampak ada view yang nampak macam memang khas untuk kita. Ada certain view, macam ni lah view dia.
So, yang
kalau
lagi
pengetahuan Bob track ni adalah memang idaman semua peminat motorsport lah. Kalau boleh memang nak menjejakkan diri ke sini dan drive sekali semua hidup pun tak apa. Tapi bila kita calculate balik dia punya costing dia dengan risiko dia, better kita drive dalam simulator je lah.
Kita tunggu kalau orang lain sudi sponsor baru kita pergi. So ada cerita lagi satu yang agak interesting. Di dekat sebelah kanan ni, as Lloyd Lockman goes down the street here, dekat sebelah kanan ni kita akan nampak area parking, area macam tol pun ada. So ada macam cafe kat sebelah kanan tu. Lepas tu kat situ ada macam area toll. So ada cerita tu. Dekat zaman 80-an track ni dah kurang pakai untuk berlumba. So apa yang terjadi, dia orang cakap okey, kita buka sebagai jalan tol so that siapa-siapa yang sudi bawa kereta dia sendiri boleh masuk track ni dan boleh rasa bawa track ni. Konsep dia macam permanent track day. So setiap lap kamu kena masuk balik, pip pakai touch and go diorang, lepas tu jalan lagi.
Tapi pastikan kad anda ada mempunyai baki yang cukup lah.
Yeah.
Jangan kau bawa kad yang kosong pula.
Kalau tidak beratur pula, tunggu kau top up dulu kat situ kan.
Betul.
Aduh. Okay, sebab tu
Okey,
kita
dalam
boleh tengok banyak video-video dekat Nurburgring. Ada van DHL pun main kat sini, taxi pun main kat sini, bas pun masuk kan.
So daripada situlah, so siapa-siapa pun selagi kereta tu ataupun motor ataupun apa-apa kenderaan ada road tax, dia boleh masuk dekat track dengan kos €30. Tetapi kalau ada accident, kalau ada accident dan accident tu terkena apa barrier dekat circuit tu, kos dia ditanggung oleh driver.
Okey. €30 berapa RM Max?
Darab lah
Agak-agak.
5.
Roughly
Dalam RM120.
RM120 satu lap. Tapi parti lah bang. Satu lap dah 25 km bang. Macam daripada Kuala nak ke Teping pun jauh lah berbaloi lah puas lah kan.
Ya je Bob. Tapi kalau terlanggar barrier ataupun orang langgar kau langgar barrier, dia punya charge tu memang tak dapat digambarkan lah. Memang beribu-ribu euro pula lepas tu.
Ya, itulah dia risiko dah. Dia ada pro and con lah.
So itu dia. Right now we're having a look at the standings at the 2-hour mark. Tukar language lah.
Perebutan tempat keempat di antara Syaril dan juga Muhammad Ibrahim dan juga Jasri Junus perebutan tempat keempat. Dan sekarang ni telah pun memasuki jam kedua, jam 6 minit. Dan kita berada di lap yang ke-14 sekarang ini.
Yeah, itu dia. So right now, just to run down the top 10 at the 2-hour mark, it's 1 XOX TKK E-Racing Team A and B, first and second place. Taki's gone off the road. Taki in the same garage car. That's a lot of damage. Jom kita saksikan. Ada insiden yang agak besar ni. Masuk dalam braking zone. Ini braking zone sebelum carousel. Agak susah juga nak masuk dekat braking zone ni. Dia memang bumpy sangat dan malang speed. Nasib baik dia tak terlanggar teruk sangat.
Itu kalau ada damage tu akan menjejaskan baki perlumbaan lagi.
So nampak ni macam Taki okey lagi, tetapi mungkin dia ada sedikit damage daripada awal race tadi yang sebabkan dia terspin. In any case, like I was saying, for all of you English speakers out there, 1XOX first and second place, Hyperballs in third and fourth place. Axel Sports, they were catching up the second place man there, but it looks like they've dropped off the pace a little bit after that pit stop. They're in fifth place, but the two cars ahead of Axel Sports right now and Muhammad Ibrahim driving those cars, they have yet to pit. So remember, he might be able to gain one or two more spots in the coming laps. Pico Paduan Bandit is in 6th place, Hyperbulls in 7th, Sim Garage in 8th. Team Liberace, Lloyd Lachlan, the lone driver, has managed to get himself into the top 10 in 9th place, and Hyperbulls PR in 10th. Axel Sports, kenderaan yang pertama yang masuk pit stop kedua, dan XOX TKK E-Racing B pula sekarang masuk. So sebagai taktik perlumbaan ni sekarang semakin lama semakin rumit nampaknya.
Abang Jazz Jali dia bergandingan dengan siapa
Kalau okay. So jom kita tengok kalau driver. Yes, Amir Faradian ada juga.
Ya,
so dia berjaya
itu
masuk
dia.
juga. So Amir Faradian ni boleh kirakan pemandu yang banyak juga pengalaman dia, tetapi dia ada ambil holiday sikit daripada sim racing.
Dia pergi ke angkasa.
Tapi best dia banyak berkongsi tip dengan kita lah sebenarnya.
Ya, betul. So itu antara salah satu daripada otai. Dia pergi angkasa, sekarang dia dah balik daripada angkasa. So kita pun berasa agak bertuah juga yang dia memilih series XOX Unity League untuk kembali ke dalam sim racing.
Okey, sekarang kedudukan masih lagi tidak berubah. One SOX. Oh, dah berubah. SS Sport sekarang ni berada di tempat kedua. Meninggalkan One SOX KKRI Racing B berada di tempat yang ketiga. Sebab sebentar tadi Abang JJ bertukar kerusi dengan Amir Farian, membuatkan SS Sport sekarang ni berada di tempat yang kedua.
Itu dia. So nampaknya macam Exo Sports tu dia masuk pit stop yang awal sikit, dan nampaknya macam pit stop awal ni mengambil lagi banyak manfaat lah daripada pit stop lambat. So kita kena tengok, mata kita kena menjeling kepada XOX team A sekarang, yang TKKR e-racing team A sekarang, yang Ilham Labi tengah drive kereta ni. Dia tak perlu tukar driver kalau tak silap saya. Dia memang dah tukar driver, dan harapan dia mungkin Ilham Labi boleh continue sampai habis perlumbaan. Tetapi adakah gap 1 minit 11 saat tu cukup untuk Ilham masuk dalam pit dan keluar daripada pit? Dan adakah Ilham Labi boleh keluar daripada pit tu dengan secara sempurna?
Kalau tanya saya, Max, dalam perlumbaan macam-macam boleh jadi, sebab ada berbaki lebih kurang dalam 50 minit lagi. So macam-macam boleh jadi.
Itu dia. Oh, Jasri Junus, Usain Vitex. Insiden yang agak besar nampaknya. Jom kita
Nampaknya
saksikan.
lower arm dia bengkok, tayar dia bocor.
Jom kita saksikan.
What happened?
Nampaknya macam dia terklip dekat jam. Jam Whipperman ni memang agak klasik. Kalau kereta tak straight dekat jam situ, dekat track ni sebenarnya ada 3 jam. Dia ada jam dekat Flugplatz, Whipperman, dan lagi satu juga sekali.
Mengetam baik, dah jadi ketam baik.
Mengetam. Apakah ni? Usain Vitek ni budak mana ni? Usain Vitek buat Moshe.
Aduh.
Masalah dia mungkin tak cukup VTEC masa tu. So banyak juga suspension damage kat kereta tu. Mungkin dia terpaksa towing nampaknya.
Okey. Bahagian nombor tu ditajuk oleh Zurich. Siapa nak renew attack Zurich boleh call my kid. Iklan kejap.
Iklan.
Aduh. Ternampak tadi kan? Lu tak perasan. Okey.
Itu dia agak bad luck juga kepada Justin Junus. Tapi section tu memang klasik, sebab kereta tu sebenarnya dia jump sikit macam dekat rally. So kalau kereta tu tak straight, kalau dia sengit sikit je, itu memang senang sangat nak spin. Malang juga.
Okey, salah seorang pelumba Hyperboost, Maverick Singh, sekarang ni di kedudukan yang ke-7, tuan-tuan.
Okey, nak tanya. Average rasanya diorang kena isi minyak berapa kali untuk track ni, untuk 3 jam ni?
Kalau dengar Kelvin T dengan Javier tadi, diorang ada cuba calculate, ada kemungkinan besar 2 kali. Kalau tak ada masalah lah.
Maknanya kena 2 pit stop at least lah.
Paling kurang 2 pit stop.
Apa terjadi?
Dekat Dunlop Curve. Jom kita saksikan apa terjadi.
Apa yang terjadi dekat situ?
Masuk dalam braking zone nampak sempurna, tetapi overspeed.
Betul. Kena pasir sikit
Tapi nampak dia overspeed, dia oversteer sebab mungkin terlalu laju sikit masuk dalam seleko tu. Boleh dikirakan mistake yang amat sangat senang nak buat. So kita tengok replay lagi satu, Aiman Zubir, dan kita ada kereta Pico Paduan yang ada livery khas untuk race ni. Collector, ya.
Free Palestine.
Ya, Free Palestine. Muhaimin yang tengah drive pada masa tu. Jom kita saksikan apa yang terjadi dekat replay ni. Ya, tu dia. Dia dah masuk ke posisi ke-6. So agak bagus juga performance dia orang untuk malam ni. Boleh dikirakan salah satu daripada kereta yang daripada section awal-awal kita tak nampak sangat, tetapi sekarang kita dah nampak dia dah masuk dalam top 10, dia dah masuk dalam top 6 pada malam ni. So Muhaimin memang dia orang pakai taktik laju dekat last section lah nampaknya.
dan kedudukan banyak berubah ya. Kalau macam tadi Lifetime Motorsport pun berada dekat, kalau tak salah aku 10 ke atas. Sekarang ni dah jatuh sedikit ke tangga ke-11 dan juga tangga ke-13 sekarang ini.
So kita nampak yang nombor hijau dengan nombor oren tu semua position change daripada start race. So Hyperboost PR sekarang yang boleh dikirakan raja overtake, 11 kereta dia petong untuk masuk ke dalam top 10. So itu agak boleh dikirakan agak istimewa jugalah performance diorang pada malam ni. So dia dah improve 11 tempat kedudukan daripada starting position diorang.
Muhammad Muhaimin daripada Pico Padawan Bandit dia tempat kedudukan ke-6 sekarang ini, dan juga Azman Abdullah juga naik, kini berada di kedudukan ke-8 sekarang ini.
So sekarang Roy dengan Azman Abdullah dalam pit sekarang. Garage Sim Sports M berada dalam pit, Team Liberace, Lloyd Loughlin dalam pit, Hyperboost PR dalam pit juga, dan Hyperboost X dan Usain Vitex yang terpaksa masuk dalam pit sebab damage. So banyak pit stop sekarang, tetapi ada satu kenderaan lagi yang belum lagi ambil pit stop kedua, iaitu One XOX TKK E-Racing A. Bilakah dia orang nak masuk? When are they going to come in? So right now, situation for those of you watching is very, very complex. Axel Sports have managed to undercut the Team B car, putting them into second place. So it's Racing TKKR Team A in first place, Axel Sports in second, 1XOX TKKR Team B in third place. But here's the thing. TKKR E-Racing Team A are in first position, but they've only made one pit stop. They're going to have to make another pit stop soon. The question is 1 minute and 10 seconds enough for these guys to come?
Aku rasa kedudukan lepas ni akan berubah, Max. Axel Sport akan naik top pertama.
Okay, so sekarang kita berada dengan Jasri Junus yang baru terkeluar dari kereta tadi daripada Usain Vitex. Apa khabar Jasri? Apa terjadi tadi?
What happened, bro? Oh, dia terkedu.
Abang JJ.
Kita okay, so sementara kita tunggu Jasri Junus cuba on mic dia, sebentar lagi kita akan tengok dia dalam pit pada masa sekarang, dan harap-harap dia boleh keluar balik untuk cuba finish the race.
Nampaknya Muhammad Ibrahim memang full blast untuk mengejar One SOX TKKR E-Racing Team A. Okey, perlu diketahui juga Team A One SOX TKKR ni dipandu oleh Ilham dan juga Ipen
Yeah, so boleh dikirakan okey.
Okey, so, dia dah masuk. Ilham ni sangat terkenal dengan strategi penjimatan minyak. Dan dia ni bila endurance dia memang sangat-sangat banyak advantage. Tapi sekarang ada sesuatu yang mendebarkan, kena ada interval seminit 10 saat saja. Adakah mereka dapat keluar sebelum Axel Sport sampai kepada turn yang pertama? Jadi sangat mendebarkan ni. So tapi interval tu tak bergerak ni. Apa terjadi? Kita dah tengok.
Okay, so sekarang dalam driver cam Saiful Arifin, untuk pertama kali kita akan buat view VR dalam simulator ni. Memang agak seronok juga. Kita boleh tengok mana sideline Saiful Arifin, mana dia punya position apa semua. Tapi sekarang dia tengah
jack,
dalam
tengah jack.
So sekarang Muhammad Ibrahim dia akan push selaju boleh, tapi nampaknya macam Saiful Arifin.
Okey, dah keluar. Adakah mereka akan bertemu? Oh, tidak. Tidak. Masih lagi dapat mengekalkan interval dalam 7 ke 6 saat macam tu. Jadi once TKR E-Racing Team A masih lagi kekal di hadapan. Berbaki dalam 42 minit lagi. Ia sangat mendebarkan. Macam memang tak sabar nak tengok siapa yang finish ni.
So di dalam gambar sekarang driver cam Saiful Arifin, dekat gambar luar ialah Muhammad Ibrahim. Kita boleh tengok gap dia 6.6 saat. So in this position you can see now Saiful Arifin in first place. They've managed to keep the lead. Tetapi ada soalan juga, sekarang Saiful Arifin dia punya tayar sejuk lagi. So dalam the next few corners tu dia kena panaskan tayar dan cuba dapat up to speed lagi sebab yang Ibrahim ni dia dah flying, dia dah ada momentum, dia dah ada panas tayar panas apa semua. So bab ni boleh dikira agak penting juga untuk Saiful Arifin nak cuba dapat pace.
Ya. Memang mendebarkan. 6 saat bagi Ibrahim tak ada masalah rasanya. Jadi Ibrahim kena kekalkan momentum, Ipin kena kekalkan momentum, mesti kekal di hadapan. Kalau tak nak apa-apa berlaku lah. Sebab Ibrahim ni kita memang kenal memang seorang driver yang dia boleh push.
Ya, betul. Muda lagi bang. Dia muda, dia fokus dan dia determine tau. Dia kalau dia nak kejar, dia akan kejar bang. Kita pernah tengok dulu dia berada di kelompok belakang dan dia boleh berada di kelompok hadapan. Itu yang pernah kita saksikan sebelum ini.
Ya.
So, sekarang dia agak interesting juga, kita boleh nampak dalam driver cam, kita boleh tengok di manakah sideline ataupun eye line Saiful Arifin masa dia drive tu. Dia tengok dekat mana. So Michael boleh cerita tak kat audience kita mana yang Saiful cuba nak tengok, mana dia mata dia nak menoleh ke mana?
Okay, by teori kereta akan pergi ke arah mana yang kita tengok. Jadi macam Ipin ni dia pakai VR kan. So selalunya kepada driver-driver experience dan profesional, dia akan tuju kepada apex mana yang dia nak pergi. So kita tengoklah Ipin mana bila sampai tang corner dia akan toleh ke tempat mana dia nak corner.
Jom kita tengok dekat sini. Fluke clutch memang selekor yang agak susah dan kita boleh tengok dia toleh kepala dia, memang dia pusing kepala dia memang jauh juga ke dalam corner. So itu beza. Mungkin itulah yang boleh dikirakan advantage pakai VR.
Ya, betul. Dan kita boleh tengok apa-apa benda jatuh dekat lantai ke, kita boleh tengok ke bawah. Pakai triple screen tak boleh kan?
Tu dia. Tu lagi satu dia punya advantage.
Okey tuan-tuan, kedudukan yang terkini One XOX TKRE Racing A yang seperti tadi telah pun memasuki pit stop buat kali pertama masih kekal berada di tempat hadapan sekarang ni. Ini akan didapat oleh Excel Sport yang dipandu oleh Muhammad Ibrahim di tempat kedua. One XOX TKRE Racing B di tempat yang ketiga. Dan sekarang tuan-tuan sekarang sedang berada di minit ke 2 jam 21 minit, lap yang ke-16.
Kalau tengok kat sini semakin rapat daripada 6 saat tadi jatuh ke 5 saat, sekarang 4 saat 4.9 saat. Jadi dalam lagi 38 minit ni dah nampak dah kat depan. So, bila dah nampak tu macam-macam boleh jadi. Orang depan akan pressure.
Tengok dia punya sector time tu. Purple sector maksudnya yang fastest time of the race tu. Sector 2 dia laju, sector 3 dia paling laju, Sector 5 pun dia paling laju. Sector 6 baru-baru tadi tu pun dia Sector 7 dia pun terlaju. So dia cuba nak pecahkan timing sekarang. So Ilham Labi sekarang ada fastest time of the race 9.00 masa dia. Excel Sports 9.03. Ada kemungkinan besar yang Ibrahim ni on pace untuk mendapatkan mungkin masa yang 8 minit 59. So ini memang dah boleh kirakan qualifying pace ni.
Weh, aku percaya Muhammad Ibrahim dia boleh kejar, bhai. Dia boleh kejar Ipin kat depan tu, bang. Tak jauh lagi, bhai. Aku yakin percaya dia boleh kejar punya.
Yang belakang eager nak kejar, yang depan rasa pressure dikejar. So ini adalah situasi yang sangat menebarkan.
Dan kita boleh tengok yang Ibrahim ni memang kita boleh tengok juga sekarang yang Ibrahim ni memang push kuat dekat section jabatan tu. Dia terslide keluar sikit. Kat sini pun dia cuba full throttle selama yang boleh. Ini memang man on a mission sekarang ni. Kita tengok dekat luar.
Jangan pecah enjin je sekarang ni. Kalau enjin pecah problem. Tapi semua kita tahu Porsche punya enjin memang bulletproof.
Dia orang punya teori Porsche, enjin Porsche ni dia sebenarnya ada teori juga. Dia tu teori 90%, 90-10%. So dia orang akan develop enjin tu sampai 100%, lepas tu dia akan buang 10 daripada RPM ataupun daripada boost, dia akan buang 10% tu. So enjin tu takkan sentuh limit dia masa race endurance. Itulah teori enjin Porsche.
Okey, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, perebutan tempat pertama di antara Saiful Arifin di tempat pertama, Muhammad Ibrahim di tempat kedua, Amir Fariyan di tempat yang ketiga. Masih lagi akan tetapi ada sedikit jarak, ada sedikit gap di antara ketiga pasukan ini. One XOX TKR Racing A berada di depan, Access Sport berada 3 saat di belakang Saiful Arifin, manakala Amir Fariyan berada 20 saat tambahan cuba mengejar Muhammad Ibrahim di tempat yang kedua sekarang ini. Perebutan tempat
Tapi di belakang TKR Racing B tu, 1 saat saja di belakang dia ada Hyperboost GT. Dia kita TKR sekarang belakang dia 1 minit. Oh,
1 minit.
1 minit ke?
Dia
1 minit. Okey. Sorry. Tak perasan, sorry. Kalau 1 saat agak berbahaya sebab tim lembu tu.
So sekarang kita
tengok kalau dekat sedang Cok nak tengok dia orang battle.
Itu dia.
Ya. Sorry, maafkan Macil. Sangat excited sampai tengok 1 minit jadi 1 saat tu.
Sebenarnya saya pun excited juga. Saya pun tak perasan sampai director menjerit tu baru. Oh, Ibrahim comes off the road there.
Bila off road macam tu ada penalty ke tak?
Dia ada point penalty system. So dia akan dapat 2x ataupun 1x ataupun apa. Hampir terlanggar dinding tu, tapi dia dapat juga carry speed. Itu yang menakjubkan juga daripada Muhammad Ibrahim ni. Mungkin dia kena masuk dalam rally cross kot. Ada bakat ni.
Tapi
3.7 seconds. Dia tengah drifting. He's drifting the cars, ladies and gentlemen. Your English language update for now then. Look at that. He's cutting through the course there. He is pushing as hard as possible. He's still got some penalty points left to go. The 26x. So
berapa maximum penalty point untuk endurance ni?
Kalau tak silap dalam 60.
Oh, 60.
So dia boleh cut sikit-sikit lah. Ada 2 tayar tu dia boleh cut sikit. Dan itu memang dekat track ni boleh dikirakan sebuah taktik sebenarnya. Yang penalty point ni.
Tapi tengok ramai yang lain tu masih 1x, 2x. Macam dia play safe lah kan.
So sekarang kita boleh nampak sangat yang Muhammad Ibrahim ni on the hunt right now. So just to update all of you guys out there, 1XOX TKR E-Racing A, Saiful Arifin is in the lead still. Muhammad Ibrahim has caught up by leaps and bounds now. At the last pit stop, they were 5 seconds apart. Now they're 3 seconds apart. There's half an hour left in the race, and it looks like it's going to be a massive attack from Muhammad Ibrahim to try and get up close to Saiful Arifin. Let's have a look at the sector times now. That's it. You can see the pace there. Sector 9, 10, 11, 12, all fastest. It looks like he might have the fastest lap of the race right now. If it wasn't for some of the cuts that he's trying to make, he is throwing everything at this car, trying to push it as hard as possible. And it looks like Saiful has responded. Saiful has now noticed that the Axel Sports car is in the back there. 3.1 seconds. That's very dangerous territory indeed in an endurance race this close to the finish. So kita boleh kirakan sekarang benda ni memang hype jugalah.
Mendebarkan 3 saat. Dalam beberapa minit dia dapat shave 1 second. Tak tahu berapa minit lagi akan shave lagi 1 second. Ada lagi 32 minit lagi. Lebih kurang 32 minit. Macam-macam boleh berlaku. Tapi part yang sangat mendebarkan bila diorang side by side nanti. Kalau Ibrahim dapat mengejar Ipin dan side by side, itu yang sangat menakutkan bila endurance ni.
Itu yang kalau kita kat belakang tu kita boleh letak pressure banyak-banyak. Kalau kita kat depan tu heart rate tinggi tu.
Ya. Okey, kedudukan terkini tuan-tuan, perebutan tempat pertama masih lagi kekal tidak berubah. Saiful di tempat pertama, Ibrahim di tempat kedua, Amir Fariyan di tempat ketiga. Yang mana pecahan tim 1XOX berada mengapit Access Sport sekarang ni di tempat pertama dan juga tempat ketiga, manakala Access Sport kena sandwich di tempat kedua sekarang ni. Kejar.
Tu je, absolutely full throttle as they go through the king there. Kita dapat tahu juga yang bukan sahaja driver Axel Sport yang dalam server Discord tu, dia punya team boss pun ada juga. So Alex Young pun sekarang tengah bagi tips sikit Memang sebagai team boss macam secara tradisional dia orang akan cuba jaga strategi ataupun bagi encouragement macam Toto Wolff ke F1 ataupun Otmar Safnauer. So memang interesting juga dia orang betul-betul ambil race ni as serious as possible. So kita tengok yang standard kita semakin lama semakin naik dekat dalam XOX Unity League Challenge ni sekarang. So sekarang Dream Team Saiful Arifin dan Ilham Hlabi boleh dikirakan dua pasangan dua driver sim daripada Malaysia yang terlaju. Sekarang Saiful Arifin yang cuba push untuk win the race, tetapi 2.6 second dia dah drop lagi. So nampaknya macam Muhammad Ibrahim
sama ada Muhammad Ibrahim lagi laju ataupun Saiful Arifin slow sikit. Betul?
Itu pun boleh jadi. Mungkin sebab Saiful Arifin dah double stint kereta, mungkin dia dah ambil dua stint. So mungkinan besar kurang fokus, ataupun Ibrahim ni memang dia akan push sedaya upaya untuk cuba catch kereta yang
Kalau
dapat.
tengok last lap Ibrahim 8.58 saat dan last lap Ipin adalah 9 minit 6 saat. Jadi
besar juga gap dia.
tapi adakah itu agak membahayakan juga, sebab bila terlampau push dan wear and tear tayar tu akan banyak. Tapi lah kita tahu Ibrahim adalah seorang driver profesional. Adakah dia dapat cover balik wear and tear tu, dapat adapt dengan tire wear yang sangat tinggi. Tapi kalau kata pasal tire wear pun, tadi dia pun masuk pit tanpa tukar tayar kan, so boleh bawa juga.
Yeah. Alright. So we can actually finally figure out what happened there at the pit stops there. We saw Miku Nasi explain to us that he had a bit of a problem with the tire change. Now we have him in the studio. Hi Miku. How's the race going for you?
Hello Miko.
Well, it looks exciting now, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very exciting.
Sangat mendebarkan orang Melayu cakap.
So we understand you had a bit of a problem with the pit stop in the first pit stop there, but it looks like you guys managed to catch that back.
Yeah, unfortunately we weren't super clear on if we lose time changing tires or not. And Ibrahim did a quick Google search, and unfortunately he had wrong information when he came back with the information. So yeah, he started his first stint on old tires.
But that's pretty incredible. So we sort of figured when we looked at the chat that we thought that he might have gone out on all the tires. He was a little bit slower than we expected him, but now he's on new tires. He's just done an 8-minute 58-second lap time, which is more like a GT3 lap time than a GT4 lap time for these guys. It's pretty incredible right now, the speed that the guys that he's going out on track there. Any tactics, anything that you're passing on to Ibrahim, or is it just a case of foot flat to the floor?
Yeah, Alex and I have told him that he has plenty of time here to to catch the leader, but he's not taking his time. He's maximum attack. He'll reel him in hopefully quite quickly.
Awesome. And as I understand, as I saw earlier in the race, I did have a peek down there. Alex is with the two of you in there. Any useful advice from him?
Yeah, absolutely. Always useful advice. Yeah, I only really started practice a little bit late, unfortunately, for this race. So he was having a look at my driving as well and giving some tips. And yeah, super helpful always.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Thanks guys.
So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot there to Miko Nasi for joining us in the studio there. He's going to run off back to his pits in order to get onto the pit wall and talk to his teammate out there on track there. But special thanks to Miko Nasi for coming in and joining us for that last little bit. But wow, memang seronok juga lah sekarang ya.
Okey, minit ke 2 jam 33 minit. Ada berbaki 20 minit lebih saja lagi sebelum perlombaan ini tamat, dan nampak gayanya masih lagi Muhammad Ibrahim sedaya upaya cuba mengejar Saiful Arifin yang berada di hadapan beliau. 2 saat baik. Dia sebenarnya Muhammad Ibrahim ni jangan terlalu push. Kalau dia terlalu push, mungkin akan menjadi keputusan yang sebaliknya sebentar lagi. Tapi itulah, apapun itulah dia, Muhammad Ibrahim dia cuba sedaya upaya untuk overtaking 106 TKR Racing A yang berada di hadapan beliau.
Ya, kalau kita dah memang jiwa seorang pelumba tu, pelumba ni orang yang tak boleh kalah. Kalau pelumba ni dia rela untuk kalah, baik dia tak payah jadi pelumba.
Ya. Tapi dia lebih gamble lah. Nasib dia memperjudikan nasib dia lah dalam
memperjudikan nasib, tetapi mungkin dia tahu yang dia boleh kontrol, dia tahu limit dia. So why not he all out, do or die.
Ya, so yang kita boleh dengar daripada Miko tadi tu pun Alex Yong yang sekarang berada di dalam pit diorang dalam Discord, dia dah bagi nasihat yang Ibrahim ni boleh slow down sikit untuk cuba tangkap. Dia ada banyak masa, tapi nampaknya macam Miko Nasi ni Ibrahim ni full focus, dia nak lead race as soon as possible. So dia sekarang dia punya taktik flat out, pedal to the metal all the way to the end. So mungkin kita kena tengoklah, ini boleh dikirakan risiko yang agak tinggi, tetapi ada kemungkinan besar yang dia mungkin boleh menang.
Baik, tengok baik 1.6 saat baik di belakang baik. Dia makin lama makin laju. Di setiap corner lagi banyak corner lagi dia laju baik. Ambil kau. 1 minit pasal
orang Melaka kata mendebaukan. Kalau apa kata orang utara pula dia Bob?
Mendebak kan. Betul.
Mendebiak kan.
So sekarang ni saya saja dia nak tanya sebelum diorang ni terlalu dekat nanti. Michael, kalau ada dalam situasi macam ni, yang kita ada di hadapan tetapi ada kereta kat belakang yang semakin lama semakin dekat, ada ke tengok dekat cermin belakang ke nak tengok kat cermin depan sahaja?
Macam mana? Ulang balik.
Dia tengok dekat mirror ke sekarang Saiful Arifin ni, ke dia akan fokus kat jalan je?
Kalau ikutkan dia tengok mental pelumba tu sendirilah. So kalau Michael selalu Michael boleh kira macam cepat koyak juga. Tapi bergantung kepada siapa dekat belakang tu. Kadang-kadang kalau dekat belakang tu kita rasa macam driving kita lebih bagus, so kita fokus. Tapi selalunya kalau diasak oleh pelumba yang sangat laju, mental kita akan toleh juga dekat belakang. Tapi lagi banyak kita toleh belakang, tengok mirror, lagi slow kita.
Sebab mungkin dah hilang fokus
hilang fokus. Betul. Kita terlampau takut sampai kita hilang fokus. Bila ini jauh lagi, tapi bila dah sampai dah dekat nanti, dah 0.2 0.3 tu, dia lagi mental lah. Sebab kita dalam tu kita nanti fikir macam kita nak block lah. Tapi dalam kita nak block tu mungkin akan terbuka ruang di mana bila kita eager nak block, yang tanpa kita sedar kereta kita akan slow.
Kita boleh tengok yang racing line yang Ibrahim tengah ambil tu agak agresif sekarang. Dia memang boleh dikirakan the teeth is showing right now. Kalau bahasa Inggeris cakap, dia memang bawa kereta macam
baru lepas curi bank. Macam baru lepas dia fly.
So right now Ibrahim there, he briefly got within a second of Saiful Arifin. This is the story of the race right now. It's 0.9 seconds between those two drivers. Big cut there from Ibrahim. He made a big mistake.
Kat situ kena saman dengan langgar kun.
Aku dah cakap dia, kalau dia termistik sikit, habis Muhammad Ibrahim ni. Apa pun begitu juga dengan Saiful Arifin. Kalau beliau membuat kesilapan, akan menyebabkan Muhammad Ibrahim memintas beliau. So kedudukan pertama dan juga tempat kedua ni harus berhati-hati untuk mengekalkan kedudukan masing-masing.
Ya. Kedua-dua pelumba ni adalah profesional dalam sim racing. So betul. Anything can happen. Tayar pancit dekat situ Aiman Zubir. What happened?
Wow. It's all happening right now, and just in time we have a special guest in the studio right now. That I believe is Chan Wei Hen in the Discord studio. Chan Wei Hen, can you hear us?
Bukan stress tu. Bang! Straight into the wall.
Straight
So
into
sekarang
the
aku dah
wall.
Sekarang aku dah tahu dah kenapa Aiman Zubir begitu stres. Rupanya itulah insiden yang telah pun berlaku sebentar tadi. Apa pun kita mengucapkan taziah kepada Aiman Zubir sebentar tadi.
Relax Aiman Bay, itu adalah perlumbaan. Anda adalah seorang pelumba yang telah melakukan tugas yang terbaik, tetapi itu yang berlaku telah tertulis di dalam suranan takdir kita.
Kamu ni kita tengok.
So right now, Weihan, you've just joined us right at the perfect time there after a blinding pit stop from Ibrahim and an attempt at an overcut from Saiful Arifin. Ibrahim's in a situation now at the dying minutes, 20 minutes to go in the race, and it's 1.8 seconds, the gap between first and second place. This is as close as I've ever seen the 3-hour race come down to. Wow, you really did choose the perfect time to turn up, eh?
I'm so sorry. I overslept and I've come late. But wow, so it's like more than 2 hours since we raced, and the gap is still stuck at around 2 seconds between the top two drivers, and that's very amazing to see.
The incredible part is that Ibrahim was about 6 seconds at the turn of the hour behind Saiful Arifin there, first and second place. But now the longer the race is going, it looks like the quicker he's trying to push the car there. He's on the ragged edge right now. It's only 1.5 seconds behind. His quickest lap so far right now is a 58.128. And the rest of the guys are doing 9-minute laps right now. So that's how fast Ibrahim's going. We're just waiting for the moment where he'll catch up. But it's all a game of time versus gap, obviously, as you know.
Masih lagi mencuba Muhammad Ibrahim masih lagi tidak jemu-jemu mencuba. Sebab yang ini ialah nama perlumbaan. Nak tak nak dia memang kena kejar orang kat depan.
Yeah.
Daripada tadi sampai sekarang masih lagi cuba mengasak.
So what must be going through the guys' minds? Weihan, do you have any guesses as to what's going on through the minds of Muhammad Ibrahim right now as he's putting his foot down trying to catch the guy up ahead?
It's probably going to try to have to make everything work with 20 minutes to go, because it is very much crunch time for all the drivers, and more so for these two cars up front. So of course in a 3-hour-long endurance race, drivers will not think of making quick moves. Rather, they'll think of perhaps delaying some of their moves in order to survive as long as possible. But this seems to be the moment where drivers make their moves actually work.
Absolutely, and we looked at the incredible rate of Ibrahim trying to close up the gap to Saiful Arifin. Saiful Arifin doing a fantastic job so far. It's not cracking under pressure, because that's a lot of pressure having that white car appear in the rear view mirror. We just asked the question to Michael as to how much you'd look behind, and it is quite frightening there. Let's have a look at the replay here with Ibrahim and see what went off there. Usain Vitex just rejoined us. He had a massive accident, but it's great to see that he's come back out again in order to try and finish the race.
Tadi Justin kalau tak silap dia langgar wall tadi Semakin hampir bai, sikit lagi bai.
The pressure is building right now. It's all a matter of time, and of course, as you very well know, just catching the guy is one thing, but actually trying to get past, especially on a racetrack like this, is going to be even harder. Where do you think Ibrahim's going to make the overtaking maneuver?
Well, given that this is the Nordschleife, I think you can make overtaking moves work in many of the corners. But of course, I think Ibrahim will have to wait for a couple more moments as he tries to close his gap up with Saiful Arifin. And once he does that, he'll have to find a good opportunity to make that work. So I imagine that they're coming towards the third sector of the Nordschleife circuit. So that possibly means that he could probably use the long backstretch to make an overtaking move work. So I think for now it's more about how well they can keep their heads down for the short term to finish this lap, and then think of making the overtaking moves subsequently.
Yeah, as you can see, he's been pushing like hell right now, basically, for want of a better phrase. And you can see there, he's taking a lot of cuts right now. He's got a huge stored bank of iRacing penalty points there, so he's using all of them up. The drivers have 60 over the course of the race there, so quite generous from all the guys and the stewards and the organisers there. So he's only used 32 of that 60, so he's pushing the car as hard as it will go. But of course, you're pushing so hard to try and catch up to the guy up ahead of you, and then you have to sort of switch your brain to almost playing 4D chess at the same time. So it must be really difficult mentally, let alone physically.
Okey, sekarang ni nampak gayanya Safar Arifin cuba menjarakkan diri daripada Muhammad Ibrahim. Aku tak pasti sama ada Muhammad Safar Arifin lebih laju ataupun Muhammad Ibrahim sekarang ni sedikit slow di masa ini, di minit ke-2 jam 44 minit sekarang ini.
Ke minyak dia.
Oh.
Tengok makin lama makin slow, nampak?
Dia peak awal tu.
So we just got word there, Ibrahim, he had to go into the pits early. So now he's dropped back quite a bit there, 3.6 seconds. He was up to 1 second behind the TKKR E-Racing Team A car. Now he's dropping back quite a bit there, 3.6 seconds. We're not too sure if he's had a fuel problem or maybe even, well, he's still going. He's still got full throttle coming down the straight there. We're not sure if it was a mistake or a problem with fuel, but that gap's just opened right up. Has Ibrahim run out of fuel? Has he run out of tyre? And is beginning to slow down.
Dan nampak gayanya
What happened?
So nampaknya Ibrahim sekarang gap semakin lama semakin besar daripada Saiful Arifin.
Oh, he's
Dan
staying
aku
out.
rasa cerita ni lepas ni mungkin Amir Farian boleh mendapat tempat kedua seandainya Muhammad Ibrahim masuk kupit sebentar lagi.
So yeah,
Kalau dia masuk kupit lah.
Hey guys, hey Max, just giving a update from the pits. If you look at your screen, you can see that the top speed of Axel Sport has been increasing at the moment. So is there damage on Saiful's car? Will he be able to catch up? We will see and find out.
That's interesting. So we must have seen, it looks like the car is going well. He's decided to not pit at this point in time, but it looks like that he might have gone either off track or he had to give up some time there some way or another. But at the same time, there, as Umar Aziz, our pit lane reporter, said, there might be a little bit of damage on the car up ahead. So this is really complicates matters for both drivers right now. So there appears to be something that slowed down Ibrahim on that last lap, and there's also something slowing down the car ahead, which is Saiful Arifin, in terms of top speed.
Tapi nampaknya kalau kita boleh tengok balik top speed tadi, antara kereta-kereta lain tu lebih kurang sama. Cuma Hyperbull GT dia yang top speed dia terlebih sekarang ni. Adakah Hyperbull GT menggunakan map lain ataupun dia buang spoiler belakang ke apa, tak tahu. Apa yang terjadi?
Baik, nama pun hyper baik. Dia memang hyper baik.
Dia memang lembu. Apa yang dia orang buat ni? Dia orang masuk motek lain ke?
So Wehan, do you reckon the Hyperbull GT guys have just leveled out that rear wing for maximum top speed?
I think so.
Betul baik.
I think so.
Hyperbull GT 281, Hyperbull PR pun sama juga. 28 juga top speed dia orang ni.
Wow. So we've got some Project 400. For those of you guys who don't know, the Le Mans team, WM, once did the Project 400 to try and get the top speed down the main straight at Le Mans. So I think these guys are doing the same thing. They might not be able to win the race, but good grief, the top speed is quite high indeed. We can see Ibrahim moving around a lot more.
Ibrahim dah boleh kejar balik Ipin. Dia tengok gap sekarang dah berkurang balik. Dah berjaya merapatkan balik. Apa yang terjadi tu? Sangat misteri sekarang.
Tak apa, mungkin lepas ni kalau katalah dia orang ni menang tempat pertama, kedua ataupun ketiga, nanti kita tanya. Tapi sekarang ni masih lagi terlalu awal untuk mengatakan siapa nombor 1, siapa nombor 2, siapa nombor 3.
At the end of the race, it looks like Ibrahim might have been on those tyres for at least an hour and 10 minutes, if not more, by my back of the notebook calculations there. It looks to me like Ibrahim's car starting to slide around a little bit. He's still catching the car up ahead, so Saiful Arifin's tyres must also be going away quite a bit. How does it look to you, Wehan?
I think it's probably beginning to buckle under a bit of pressure. Of course, you see that the gap is reducing, and this could mean that I think it's more likely that Ibrahim is slowly gaining ground. so to speak. So of course it's now down to the final moments, and Ibrahim, at least he has to make this move work. And regarding the top speed, I think they might have probably found some secret DRS button or something.
Or maybe just the right amount of damage in just the right place.
Oh yes, certainly. Just to share, last time I was driving the V8 supercars, right, someone hit my rear boot lid off, and off came the spoiler as well. My top speed was faster.
So there's a tip, guys. Make sure you have some rear damage if you want to overtake on the Conrad straight. Oh,
What happened?
Speaking of damage,
a lot of damage.
Free.
So let's have a look. Coming into the braking zone. Whipperman once more. And that jump is so tricky. Up in the Whipperman section, of course, there's that depression where the cars actually gain a little bit of air, a couple of inches off the ground before they land back down again. And if the car, just like the Jasri Jonas' accident, if the car is a little bit sideways going over there, it can be very hard to try and catch that back.
Okay.
That's Ayman Zubair in the pits.
Yeah, it looks like he might have a little bit gone a little bit too tight on the fueling there. He's going to have to go into the pits there. We're in the last 10 minutes of the race, so we could see a 20-lap race around the Nurburgring, which incidentally I believe is longer than the Formula 1 race that used to run here.
Oh, that's interesting.
Matt. Oh, okay. Now, okay, sekarang kita tengok ni. Fokus. 0.3 second.
Whoa!
Okay.
Wow! So Ibrahim's really found the time to try and get really close up to the car up ahead, which is Saiful Arifin, and he's getting closer and closer again. Did Saiful Arifin make a mistake? That was a huge difference in gap there. 0.2 seconds now from Ibrahim and Saiful Arifin. They're two very experienced drivers here. Like I said, it's one thing to catch up with Saiful Arifin, it's quite another thing entirely to try and pass him. Now he's coming up to a section here where it's going to be very difficult to try and overtake. That's the carousel up ahead, and Ibrahim's going to be a really brave man if he's going to try and overtake through there. We're going on board with Saiful Arifin in the driver cam, watching on VR. Absolutely beautiful pictures here as he's coming up. He's going to aim for that elm tree in the middle of the bushes there as he goes through the carousel there, and you can see big sideways moment there from the Axel Sports car. That's going to lose him quite a bit of time there, but he's still 1.1 seconds behind. This is still very close, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be very exciting.
Satu pertumbuhan yang sangat hebat di antara dua pasukan besar, iaitu YXOX TKR E-Racing dan juga Axel Sport. Dah beberapa jam pun telah pun berlalu dan mereka masih lagi bergasak di antara satu sama lain.
Ya, Cik Bob, di SOX Unity League ni kita bawakan yang terbaik, yang terpadat, yang terlaju hanya kepada anda.
Ya. Sebab yelah, kita penonton, kita suka ke aksi. So inilah dia, kami bawakan yang terpadu, yang terlaju dan terhebat kepada anda.
Tagline Cik Bob tu memang sedap dia dengar.
Okey, telah pun memasuki minit ke 2 jam 22 saat, lap yang ke-19. Kita rasa boleh ke tak boleh Muhammad Ibrahim meminta Saiful Arifin ni?
So down to the last 10 minutes.
Dan mereka sama hebat, sama padu, sama laju. Tak dapat nak menjangkakan apa-apa. Just kita tengok sajalah. Lagi satu lap lebih ni.
So the question will be is if Ibrahim can keep this gap going all the way onto the Dottinger Hole straight, that 1.2 kilometer back straight, do you think, Weihan, if that he'll be able to draft past or at least get very close?
So I think if you can get his advantage down to perhaps 4 or 5 tenths of a second, that could work. But I think it's not. It's decreasing once again. So I think there is a very real chance that Ibrahim can make something work. If he doesn't, unfortunately, it's gone a bit wide along the exit of that corner, and I think every now and then it just so happens that for Ibrahim, he would gain a lot of ground, but come to one corner where he unfortunately makes a mistake, and that kind of resets his ground. So now we're going on to the backstretch, but unfortunately the gap has extended to 2 seconds, so it's going to be quite difficult for Ibrahim to think of a move at this point.
So yeah, that was quite a dramatic last sector before that back straight there, losing quite a lot of time going through the little the little carousel and the couple of corners behind that, it looks like the tires are definitely on their way out. You wouldn't want to put them back on the cars after this race. Let me tell you that much. And it looks like for Arifin, perhaps he may have just a little bit more life left in that rubber. Ibrahim might be able to lap quicker, but not as consistently as Saiful Arifin.
Oh Max, ini lap yang terakhir
Lagi satu lap mungkin.
belum lagi.
Lagi satu lap.
Boleh tahan 3 jam sama dengan 20 lap.
Yeah, last lap. This one last lap. Mereka memasuki lap yang terakhir.
So it's do or die now or never. They won't be able to finish this lap before the end of the race. This has to be the last lap of the race there. And it looks like Ibrahim is able to catch up quite a lot of time in the Formula 1 circuit, where there's a lot of runoff and there's quite a bit of space there. So even on slightly older tyres, he's able to carry the speed through the corners. But through the tight, narrow and twisty couple of sectors just before that main straight there, it looks like he is literally running out of track at some places. He's obviously really keyed in onto the racing line that he wants, but unfortunately he's just a little bit too wide on a couple of corners there in that last lap. So he's going to have to internalize that, and he's going to have to try and improve and make a better lap around the corner here. Dunlop Curvy looking like he's going a little bit deep in through there. Perhaps that could be just to try and get a better drive out of it, but it could also be symptom of tyre wear issues. Now, the question is, did Ibrahim push a little bit too hard?
Aku ingin nak tahu apa arahan pasukan Access Sport kepada Muhammad Ibrahim pada malam ini. Aku
Mungkin
betul nak
go
tahu.
flat out.
Aku nak tahu sangat-sangat apa instruction team dia orang pada Muhammad Ibrahim pada malam.
Oh, apa yang berlaku kepada Kevin Singh?
Just a
Oh,
little
bonet dia dah hampir nak cabut.
It's on its way out. It's on its way
about to
out.
come out, but not out yet.
He might be able to hang on to it for one more lap. I'll tell you what,
Hey,
though, those
sorry.
bonnets are expensive.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, nampaknya
Brother found where he belongs.
banyak kereta dah hilang grip dah sekarang ni.
Semua tayar dah geli-geli dah ni.
So your fellow Singaporean Surin Savaraju just saying hi in the studio there, giving us a nice little heart attack there. So Victory Wajdi, that was the incident that caused him to come off the track there. That jump there on the Whipperman section, really sort of quite a dramatic place to try and lose it. I understand from drivers who've actually driven there in real life that it's such a massive shock to the suspension, to the seat, to the driver when he dropped down that 3 or 4 feet, that it can unsettle the car quite a bit. It must be scary if you get it wrong through there.
Yeah, I would imagine so. So right now we're back with live pictures. 4 minutes to go, which could mean that it could be either 1 or 2 laps left of racing to go. And this is another one of those straight sections. So I think good area for Ibrahim to make up some ground. So if he's able to close this gap back down to 0.2 of a second, we could see some overtaking moves being done, because of course I think we all know the first and second sectors sometimes comes with some possible overtaking opportunities, and Ibrahim better make use of them.
Absolutely, the gap is as low as it's ever been all race long. 0.7 of a second there briefly before coming to this braking zone here. The gap will concertina up and down just a little bit as you go through certain sections here. Vauxhall is next, this downhill high speed, well, virtually flat out in these cars as you go down through the hill here. That bottoming section right there called the Vauxhall because that's where the military installation was. As they go up through the hill there, you can see Ibrahim still driving that car at 10/10. He's not thinking about the tyres anymore. He perhaps realizes that this could be just the last lap of the race. In fact, it will be. Looking at the time there with 3 minutes to go, they won't be able to make it around for another lap, but it looks like that he's as close as he's ever going to get. Will this be his chance? He's going to probably have to overtake before the main straight, because we see the last few corners before the main straight, he's a little bit weak comparison to Saiful Arifin up ahead. So my guess is that he's going to try and find a way before that section.
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, hanya tinggal berbaki 2 minit saja lagi. Sangat-sangat sikit saja masa yang diberikan untuk kepada Ibrahim untuk mengejar, memintas Saiful Arifin di hadapan beliau. So, mari kita saksikan di minit-minit terakhir ni.
So there you have it, Saiful Arifin going through the corners there. And it's really very difficult. Well, fittingly, it looks like it's rained outside a little bit there.
Nampak macam Ibrahim punya exit speed agak tinggi Kalau kita tengok Ibrahim berjaya merapatkan kedudukan di setiap kali exit. Maknanya dia punya dia carry speed into the corner sangat bagus.
Tapi yang menarik perhatian aku, Miko nasi komen apa kat sini. Ibrahim got this. Super chill waiting for final lap. Oh, confident je dia.
He's calling. He knows there's going to be a final lap overtaking maneuver. There's some confidence going in the Axel Sports team there. We like to see that. Right now it's 0.6 of a second by my watch between those two drivers there. It's definitely close enough to try something dramatic. But you wouldn't want to try and do anything too dramatic at this course, because as you go around the lap, the secret is here, it actually gets a little bit narrower the further along the lap you are on this mountain section. So very, very cautious thing indeed. But it's now down to 0.2 of a second. He's got a massive drive coming out of the corner there, over the crest into the braking zone here. Now Ibrahim is right on top as they come towards the carousel. Will we see an overtaking maneuver coming into the carousel? Let's see what the drive is coming out of the corner there. It looks like Saiful Arifin getting a little bit sideways coming through there. 0.3 of a second is going to be fairly dramatic if it does happen here. It looks like discretion, the better part of valor through there. We know Saiful Arifin really can go through that bowl quicker than Ibrahim. So, and now it's dropped back a little bit through there. We can tell that the tires on Ibrahim's car definitely have less traction, if not less grip, coming out of the corners there, if you will. And now it's all down to Ibrahim trying to push his hardest. He's using all of the curb and then some as he goes around the lap here. And it's all down to just trying to pick that next overtaking spot. Where will Ibrahim attack?
Nampaknya bukan saja kita yang tengah commented ni yang orang kata benar-benar syukran juga kita orang yang sesak nafas ni siot. Itu komen daripada viewers kita, penonton kita pada malam ni.
There you have it coming around the bends there.
Oh, terkeluar sikit tadi Ibrahim.
So yeah, nampaknya macam Ibrahim terkeluar sikit, tapi still masih agak dekat juga. Very close between the two drivers there, and it's all down to the final few sectors of this mountain section of the circuit here, and down to the main straight.
Ada back markers kat situ.
Back markers.
Apakah back markers akan mengganggu mereka? Mari kita sama-sama lihat.
Coming through there, it looks like they're safe from the back markers at the moment there. Big air there for Ibrahim. He's definitely carrying a lot of speed going through that corner there. They're getting closer and closer. There's more back markers. There's more back markers coming up towards the end of the lap here. This is absolutely dramatic. They're coming up to the last few corners before the main straight there. It looks like it's going to be down to the Dottinger hole. Can this young man here, Muhammad Ibrahim, get the toe he needs to come out behind the shadow of Saiful Arifin and overtake? They're going to have to time this perfectly, going around the outside of a back marker. They've got more traffic up ahead. Could this be the deciding factor as they come onto the main straight there? Absolutely flying down the road here. And it looks like 0.3 of a second there might not be enough. Not too sure how the draft is going to work there. It looks like Saiful Arifin might have stolen just a little bit of a drive coming out of the corner there. Dottinger Ho is a long straight though, and it's all going to come down to Tiergarten, the last section of the lap there. And Saiful Arifin, they're using as much of the cars around him as possible, absolutely flying down the hill there through Tiergarten. This is on the limit motoring as they come around the corners there. The two cars inches away, feet away as they come through the final section of Tiergarten. One more corner to go. It's flat out all the way to the checkered flag. Who's it going to be? It looks like it's going to be Saiful Arifin in the lead. And it looks like Saiful Arifin just takes home the win at the XOX Endurance Race here. The final round of the XOX Unity League Challenge. It's Saiful Arifin.
Dia ucapkan kepada 1XX TKKR Racing A dan Essence Sport. diikuti dengan XOX Team B. Satu persembahan yang sangat mendebar ni.
Dia baik, dia boleh high beam dulu baik. Bergaya high beam dulu sebelum ke checkered flag. Hey.
So that was an absolutely incredible finish to the race there. One XOX TKR Racing Team A takes the win for the endurance round, the final round of the championship. Axel Sports, they got close. They got really, really close.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't expect that Arifin was holding on to that top spot. He just was as cool as steel going through there. Absolutely brilliant motoring indeed.
Ya.
Okey, apa pun tahniah ucapkan kepada Wonder SS era
Ipin is here.
So now we have a special guest in the studio. Saiful Arifin, apa khabar? Oh my God, what a race!
Tahniah bang.
Thank you.
Kau memang menebaukan, Pin, menebaukan.
Tengok banjir ni bang.
Banjir ke VR tu?
Bang.
VR aku takut, perut aku takut.
Kita orang yang tengok dekat luar ni pun tak tahu nak kata apa yang akan terjadi, tapi nampaknya semua clean sampai ke habis. Apa perasaan dan apa rahsianya? Kita nak tahu ni.
Ya, perasaan masa ni sekarang ni memang berdebar lah daripada start race lagi. And then rahsia dia fuel saving jugalah. Kalau endurance ni memang kena fuel saving. So kalau fuel saving ni, siapa paling sikit isi minyak untuk last stint tu, dia ada chance lah menang. Chance paling tinggi dia menang.
Ya, nampak tadi stint yang Ilham tu dapat fuel saving paling banyak
Ni pun saya kami tersilap calculation sebenarnya. Minyak sekarang ni ada lebih lagi 1.5 lap.
Oi, berat tu, Pen, berat.
Kita boleh
salah
lagi
kira ni.
10 second.
Tak apa, better lebih daripada kurang. Daripada kau mati 2-3 corner sebelum ni, elok lah lebih dulu. Lebih pun boleh menang lagi. Kira tahniah lah. Ini hadiah yang hadiah hari raya ni. Mungkin ada makan-makan besar daripada tiket KR.
Nak tanya bang, Abang Ipin nak tanya bang.
Ya bang, cakap.
Satu jam awak dihimpit diasak oleh Ibrahim. Macam mana pressure tu? Pressure tu awak rasa boleh kontrol pressure tu pun ke ataupun sedikit cemas dalam masa 1 jam?
Paling cemas masa last lap je tadi. So sebab dia rapat, lagi ada trafik. Tadi daripada Rizal Azmi tadi saya ada contact sikit dengan dia kan. So menyebabkan saya kena break lah, kena pelakar kereta. And then tiba Ibrahim, saya tengok terkejut 0.2 second, 0.1 belakang saya. So tu yang bertambah cuak tu. Macam biar betul Ibrahim pula macam cuba nak potong. Itu yang mendebarkan lah. Paling gigil terus satu badan.
Tapi dalam endurance ni nampak sportsmanship kedua-dua driver sangat tinggi lah kan. So walaupun memang kalau ikutkan 0.1 saat tu, kalau tak tinggi sportsmanship tu, dia orang akan cubalah buat macam mana pun. Tapi nampak kat situ kedua-duanya sangat matang lah sekarang ni.
Alhamdulillah. Terbaik. Tahniah kepada semua yang berjaya habiskan race, pada Ibrahim, Miko dan especially tak lupa juga teammate Ilham yang banyak membantu dari segi setup, minyak, strategi. Tolong discuss sama lah.
Alrighty, so we have Muhammad Ibrahim in the studio as well. Let me say, Ibrahim, that was absolutely probably one of the best drives I've seen in a while. You really threw that little Porsche Cayman at the scenery quite hard there. Talk us through that last 30 minutes of the race. What was going through your head there?
We won. Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy race. It was especially difficult for me and Nico because we just bought the track today. So we had no experience. We never drove Nords at all. It's like the first time driving Nords. So we didn't expect it at all because, you saw the qualifying result, right? Nico did a 9:02 and the pole was 8 minutes 53 seconds. So we had zero experience. So it was really difficult because I was learning the track as the race was going on. So I was getting faster. But I just messed up the last corner because I did not know I'm learning the track. So it was really new to me. So I just, out of pressure, messed it up.
Okay, Ibrahim, I just want to ask, what is your team instruction?
During few last lap.
No, there was no instruction, just push.
Oh,
It is.
Alex Young don't say anything?
Yeah, no, he told me about which laps to attack and which laps to go for it, because it was very difficult for him to coach me, because me and Nico were new to the track, so we had to learn ourselves basically, because it's difficult for him to tell, because we were new to the track still.
Yeah, we managed to grab a quick word with Miko just before the race finished, about 20 minutes out from the race finish, and he was saying there that he was still having instructions from Alex as to how to drive the track a little bit better, with some tips and stuff like that. So it must be nerve-wracking being in a position to try and get the race lead when you're still not fully 100% confident with the track, but it looked like you were pushing the car right to the absolute limits in some sections there. It was quite entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I know. I was pushing the car really hard because I didn't really know the limit, so I had to keep on exploring the limit, because I was going over the limit sometimes and I was under it, so I had to use a lot of car control. It was really difficult actually to keep the car on the road, because we didn't have a setup for this track. We just ran something close to baseline, so the setup was not very good for the race. So because we didn't make a proper setup, so that's one of the other problems, because the rear of the car was really loose at some point, so I had to really get some energy out there.
Well, I can hear the amount of energy that you put into the car there. I mean, congratulations on your second place, but commiserations. Didn't quite get it this time there, but wow, that was a brilliant way to end off the season, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great way, because actually I was planning, maybe it was not possible for me to participate this race, because I was planning to do another race, but I said it is not nice, to skip this race, because I really have to show respect, and I have to really participate in all the races, so I really wanted to, just represent XOX and everyone out there, and do the best for them.
Well, that's a very big thank you from us to you. You've been a fantastic champion for this season. Congratulations there, and to the team as well. This must have been a wonderful feeling throughout the course of the season. Any plans for the future now?
Yes, I was really happy to win the Drivers and Teams Championship. It's nice because last season I finished second, and I just if it was by a very small amount, I finished second because I lost I DNF basically 2 races. So in the future plans, right now I'll be busy with some other races, and hopefully I'll be back for season 3.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you there. So thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Nampak kali ni dah ada permintaan untuk season yang ketiga ni.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I would like to thank everyone once again, the commentators, K-Rool, everyone at XOX, all the sponsors, and everyone who's just been there to organize this event. Without you guys, this wouldn't exist whatsoever. So I would like to thank you guys for the amazing season. It's just been a nice time, to race this championship.
Absolutely, and thanks for joining us.
Yep. Yes, inshallah.
Alrighty, so that is Muhammad Ibrahim. And we have Amir Farid. Amir Farid, apa khabar Amir Farid?
Khabar baik. Aduh.
What happened?
Oh, agak struggle sikit race ni, tapi first of all, Alhamdulillah. So TKKR at least dapat untuk team punya constructor championship dapat nombor 2, nombor 3. Syukur Alhamdulillah. Lepas tu untuk driver championship pun 2 dan 3 juga pun Alhamdulillah. Tahniah dekat Ipin. Good job, good drive, very good drive on the last few laps dekat Nurburgring ni, fight dengan Ibrahim pun memang fight dia pun memang gila-gila. Meanwhile masa saya dekat belakang, walaupun 50 second dekat belakang, duk tengok relatif tu lah, janganlah Ibrahim potong. tak boleh nak fokus race lah. Tengok tengah race ni tapi fokus race orang.
Tapi dalam Discord kau sekali Discord tak dengan Ipin dengan Ilham semua ke ataupun asing?
Tak, aku untuk yang race ni aku mute, aku tak ada join Discord, so orang cakap poyo-poyo sikit lah, full concentration lah konon. Kan?
Tapi memang betul lah kena full concentrate kan.
Tapi
untuk
betul.
ni kan.
Lagi satu yang membuatkan lagi struggle pasal hari ni macam JJ pun drive very good, very amazing throughout the stint untuk Nurburgring ni memang terbaik. Masuk ke stint aku agak ada masalah sikit. Actually masalah ni datang sebelum masuk race lagi. Ada equipment punya technical issue. Then the best part is lagi 7 turn nak sampai finish line. Last lap tu terpaksa slow down kereta pasal brake patah.
Aduh. Tapi tadi ada blue flag tadi. Ada blue flag tak?
Ada blue flag. Dia pun nak potong ke tak pasal terlampau slow sangat. Memang kalau tengok last lap tu terlampau slow sangat. Tapi alhamdulillah dapat bring back the car. Semua intact lah, tak ada damage apa semua. Tapi yang paling puas hati ialah team punya performance. Tahniah dekat team, tahniah kat driver. Terima kasih bagi kerjasama semua kan. So alang-alang nak shout out ni, terima kasih juga dekat Adrenaline Impact, Vertex Motorsport, dekat mana sponsor-sponsor, partnership yang menjayakan event ni, dekat semua driver, pro, amateur dengan rookies, anda semua memang terbaik. Komentator daripada mula sampai habis memang tak tahulah. Ailion korang refill macam mana pun tak tahulah. Memang terbaik.
Kita import daripada Jerman. So yeah, terima kasih kerana sudi hadir pada temu ramah ya, interview.
Temu ramah.
Yeah. So terima kasih hadir interview ni.
6 race ni baru hari ni dapat interview. Sedih.
Yeah. Tak apa. Nanti next season kita bagi lebih sikit kota. So itu dia. Terima kasih kerana sudi interview dan sudi datang kepada race dan sudi join championship. Harap-harap nanti kita boleh tengok saksikan Amir Farid beraksi.
Kita jemput. Cuba kita jemput ni apa, tim lembu pula, lembu seorang wakil daripada lembu kalau boleh.
Lembu.
Kita ajak bos lah, bos Bobby.
Kita bos Bobby ada ke online ni sekarang ni?
Sekejap. Hilang tak?
So we are just looking for any more guys to come through there and try and see if we can catch any more of the drivers as they're in the section there. But special thanks goes out to all the drivers we have talked to so far this evening.
Apa?
Oh yeah. Kita cuba cari.
Yeah, kita ada Afa daripada tim Hyperboost.
Yeah. So hi
dan juga Syamir Aizan daripada tim Hyperboost. How do you do?
I am fine.
Bang, macam mana bang rancangan kita untuk berdiet bang? Berjalan lancar? Ke macam mana?
Belum ni. Berarti.
Apa khabar semua?
Baik.
Khabar baik. Okay, first kali untuk tim Hyperboost ni aku ada soalan nak tanya ni. Kenapa top speed korang gila-gila dekat track ni? Apakah korang tune lain? Atau ada cheat code ke kan? Cuba share lah sikit, dah habis race kan?
Tak ada. Kita orang training untuk 2 minggu. And then kita pakai benchmark daripada YouTube lah. Kita study dia punya lap time semua tu. And then kita implement lah turn by turn. First thing first, apa yang kita buat is kita orang kill off dulu dia punya damage tu. And then kita buat seberapa banyak lap yang boleh kan?
Macam biasalah, macam dulu-dulu lah.
Macam dulu-dulu lah.
JJ tinggal seorang tu boleh tarik.
Lepas tu bila dah selesa dengan lap time, dengan apa tracknya tu, then baru kita turn on damage and then kita buat lagi sekali.
Sekarang ni orang punya top speed lebih 5 ke 6 km sejam daripada orang lain.
28 lebih tu. Boleh dapat
285. Korang kira
kereta yang mana tu?
Tak tahulah, tapi kereta lembu lah.
Diamond kot.
Dua biji kereta lembu.
Final turn tu ada cara dia nak ambil. And then based on kita orang punya practice pun, kita orang practice yang final turn tu berkali-kali. Korang tak tahu berapa kali kita tidur kat situ, tekan minyak je pusing. So memang kita ni banyak tekankan, ada a few corners yang kita orang fokus untuk practice lah.
Tapi tak apa, kejap lagi nanti skuter ni akan check lah balik, akan check balik, timbang balik, mana tahu kurang berat ke ataupun ada tambah gear satu lagi ke kan.
Kita ada in-house tuner lah. Kita ada in-house tuner kan, kita kan tuner.
Oh, lupa pula. Dia naik danu lain dah ni. Okey. Apa pun tahniahlah malam ni korang.
Terima kasih.
Tapi tengok tadi ada Aiman Zubir ada sedikit berlaku pelanggaran. Nampak dia memang sangat kecewa tadi.
Betul, kecewa dia.
Kecewa cakap dengan dia that is race.
Yes.
Ada apa-apa ucapan daripada tim Lembu kepada semua yang melihat, menyaksikan dan menjayakan event ni, kawan-kawan? Lepas ni boleh invite Cil masuk grup dah ke kan? Dah lama dah tak sembang.
Padahal Cil ni pasal kita bawa masuk Cil dalam grup nanti.
Aku dah nak merajuk ni. 2 bulan aku tengok WhatsApp tu senyap je. Okey. Ucapan daripada korang. Cukup. Enough. Apa?
Satu Afah.
First thing first, untuk amateur alhamdulillah kita dapat retain kita punya kita punya kekuasaan dekat amateur, alhamdulillah. And tak tahulah dari segi final point macam mana, tapi hopefully kita boleh dapatlah antara yang top 3 tu kan. Yang top 1 confirm, yang top 3 tu hopefully kita dapat 2 kereta dalam top 3 ni. Untuk bahagian pro, season ni kurang nasib baik sikit lah. Macam tadi pun tengah-tengah drive Kevin dia punya internet dia disconnected, so memang tak boleh buat apa. Aku boleh buat, aku cuba recover balik lah daripada 16 naik ke 8. Lepas tu bila handover balik ke Kevin dan again nasib dekat bahagian dia lah. Not much can do kat situ. So hopefully next season kita akan lebih konsisten dekat pro lah.
Okay. Next season nak import my chill tak?
Of course lah, come on lah. Come on,
Macam kepuasan ni lain macam lah.
Boleh. Betul. Sebab ikut kan, kita orang pun tak sangka boleh hafal track ni. Tu je.
Betul.
Kan.
Memang walaupun duduk buat apa-apa pun, kalau dapat habiskan endurance ni, bila dah finish tu, memang
dia itu pun dah kejayaan kan. Dah kira menang dah sebenarnya kan.
Itu dah menang lah.
Betul.
Right. Thank you banyak guys. Minta maaf kalau terkasar bahasa, terlanjur kata, dan nak ucapkan sekali lagi selamat hari raya.
Last raya wish. Lepas ni dah tak ada live lah. Sebentar boleh live. Ucapan.
Okay, thank you especially kepada tim TKKR yang banyak support kami semua berempat, Abang Bobby, Akid, and then tak lupa juga sponsor XOX, Adrenaline Impact, banyak juga membantu soalan-soalan yang jawab. Dan kepada semua driver, tahniah dapat menghabiskan satu season yang diakhiri dengan endurance ni 3 jam. Memang terbaik.
Ya, itu dia. Okay Max.
Lagi nak jemput lama lagi?
Max.
Dia dah boleh cari lemang lah tu. Dia lagi cari lemang.
Makan rempeyek lah tu. So, siapa lagi kita nak jemput? Mungkin ada wakil-wakil lagi ataupun dah habis waktu siaran ke?
DJ tadi dalam ni lah. DJ ke mute?
Ajak Melvin. Dia top 3 tadi tu.
Melvin. Tarik. Sekejap, tarik macam ni tak tarik. Macam mana tarik? Tak pandai. Cik tak pandai tarik. Kalau boleh jemput sekali SIM R Garage, sesiapa
Semua,
Husin VTech kan. Siapa lagi tim Pico ni, Nazmi.
Hello?
Yo.
Oh, ingat dah habis lah.
Ya, kita jemput ni untuk korang bagi ucapan sikit selepas habis race ni kepada tim-tim yang berjaya menghabiskan race ni, dan tak berjaya pun boleh juga nak cakap apa-apa.
Tak ada sangat, cuma good race to everyone lah.
Ni Botet ke Azman?
Botet.
Botet, okay, Botet.
Just good race, nak bagi tahu good race to everyone, yang mana hafal track, mana tak hafal track, mana yang tak sampai satu lap tu. Kau mau tak sangka kan daripada 3 team, 2 kat pro, 1 kat amateur, yang amateur boleh duduk atas. And Encik Azman bagi sepatah 2 kata.
Cik Asman.
Ada. Itulah well done to team Sigma Garage Sim Sport. Tiga-tiga tim berjaya menghabiskan race ni. Even ada beberapa insiden ataupun damage, tapi nampak gaya kereta masih lagi boleh menghabiskan perlumbaan. So sebagai korang-korangnya tim principal lah, so ingin mengucapkan tahniah kepada ketiga-tiga tim yang mewakili pasukan Sigma Garage dalam perlumbaan XOX ni. Dan kami harap penganjur XOX dapat meneruskan
next season.
Meneruskan usaha baik untuk menganjurkan perlumbaan sim sport kepada semua pelumba sim racing lah. Saya rasa kita boleh maju ke hadapan lagi, dan juga tahniah kepada semua kawan-kawan sim racer yang menjayakan season.
Tahniah Abang.
Tahniah Abang daripada Sigma Garage, dan kita nak berjemput siapa lagi nak berucap, sila berucap. Kita bagi peluang untuk berucap sekarang ni. Nak ucap selamat raya ke apa ke, lepas ni boleh senyum balik dengan kawan, boleh WhatsApp balik dengan kawan. Jangan ada rahsia lagi dah, jangan ada grup rahsia lagi dah kan. So kita boleh happy balik. Perlumbaan dah habis.
Race balik Jil. Jil cerita daripada pengalaman je Jil.
Aku yang tak race pun, diorang tak nak event dalam grup. Aku ni terluka ni. Diorang kena minta maaf dengan aku.
Okey tu, itu dia.
Aku tak tahulah Cil, aku mana-mana grup pun ada je kau je. Grup rahsia pun ada kau juga.
Okay, siapa yang nak berucap?
Hyperballs kita dah ada, Sigma Garage kita dah ada, lagi.
Daripada Nazmi, Nazmi, Mohamin, Cik Azril, hari ni BTC drop.
What? Hantulah kau Cik.
Okay, apa? Nazmi dulu, pengantin baru.
Nak cakap copy paste je lah yang tadi. Apa tu, nak ucap terima kasih pada organizer, AI, komentator, Alang semualah untuk organize race. Ipin, team manager untuk Pico Padawan Bandit. Itu je lah, harap ada next season lah.
So nampak gaya season 1 kita dah selesai, season 2 pun kita dah selesai, dan ramai nampak gayanya mengharapkan season yang ketiga. So kita mengharapkan ramai-ramai, kita doakan akan ada lagi season yang ketiga selepas ini.
Dan kita nak sikit nak dengar sikit sepatah 2 kata daripada Paduka. Dia memerhatikan race tadi, apa pendapatan dia daripada tadi?
Pendapatan lumayan. Assalamualaikum semua. Pada semua pelumba-pelumba. Tahniah pada tim XOX TKKR kerana menangi perlumbaan pada malam ini.
Terima kasih kepada semua pemandu dan semua orang yang masuk dalam studio untuk bincang. Komputer aku off.
Ingatkan pergi makan lemang.
Tak, tiba-tiba aku tengah cakap, lepas tu screen pergi blank, aku cakap Alamak. Siap-siap dengan lampu bilik sekali. So, I do apologize if I just ghosted on you guys, but I'm here now again. But yeah, ada siapa-siapa lagi yang kita belum lagi bincang, borak lagi?
Fairuz Fazil? Nak
Farus.
berucap ke?
Ya, okey. Assalamualaikum semua.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih kepada organizer, kepada komentator dan COC lah. So this is my first endurance yang panjang lah. 3 jam kan.
3 jam
Dia sangat mencabar untuk orang tua
Bersama dengan apa dia?
Just joking.
Insiden ada satu je tau.
Good.
So thank you everybody bagi peluang untuk bersama-sama untuk season kali ni lah. Hopefully kita ada next season. So because ini kalau online ni tak masuk sangat lah. Kalau kita punya team yang season ni seronok lah. Alright. Okay, that's it. Thank you all.
Alrighty, thanks.
Muhammad.
Oh, Muhammad ada.
Michael akan join lah. Tak sabar nak lembu dia.
Lain lah. Level korang dah lain lah. Korang dah kira Mosha lah. Aku tak boleh nak catch up lah korang ni. So korang teruskan berlumba.
Boleh Cil. Kucing.
Dah start.
Mantap Max. Ramai yang mengharapkan season yang ketiga ni.
Yes. Itulah harap-harap.
Kita akan cuba sedaya upaya untuk cuba mewujudkan season ketiga.
Ya.
Mana Bobby? Panggil lah dia.
Bos Bobby ada?
Ada. Tak.
Panggil lah kau dah sudah masuk.
Tidur dah. Orang tua tu tidur dah.
Sudah kita dah pun melepasi round yang ke-6 dah. Ini merupakan perlumbaan yang terakhir untuk kategori ini, Pro dan juga M. So esok kita masih ada lagi satu perlumbaan dan jangan lepaskan peluang untuk bersama kita pada malam esok untuk perlumbaan rookie pula.
Yeah, there you have it.
Korang semua sedih tak? Dah habis race?
Sedih.
Ya, rindu nak gaduh-gaduh ke.
Tapi tak apa, semasa kita tunggu season 3 datang, mungkin kita akan buat event one-off, event for fun, event kat AC ataupun dekat AMS2 ataupun dekat tempat-tempat lain.
Reverse event lah.
Fun event lah.
Agak-agak season 3 kata apa lah Ceng.
MX5
MX5 gear reverse.
MS5 gear 5 je.
Tak payah. Baik pakai Solstice terus.
Solstice hari tu.
Solstice.
Okay, esok korang boleh rehat. So sambil korang rehat santai esok, tolong share sekali lah stream esok rookie. Kita nak tengok diorang beraksi pula. Tak pernah broadcast, kita tengok diorang kumpulan kecil ni main Nurburgring bukan full diorang Nurburgring saja. So tahniah pada semua yang berjaya habiskan season ni dengan cemerlang. Dan nak ucapkan selamat hari raya jugalah lagi sekali kepada semua penonton kan. Apa lagi nak cakap ni season 3 kan, tak tahu lagi, kena tanya orang-orang yang boleh bagi idea. Nanti kita akan buat macam biasalah, antara season ni kita akan buat hosted macam biasa. Dan sila join lah.
Rookie nak open. Yang join pakai Solstice lah.
Solstice dengan gear reverse.
Notice tu memang
nak ucap tahniah dekat Adrenaline Impact dengan Botek di atas ni lah, jadi broadcaster untuk season ni kan. Memang very good job lah you all.
Thank you.
Terima kasih teman-teman. Okey, itu saja untuk malam ni. Apa-apa pun borang protes masih ada.
ada protes ke?
Tapi kalau korang dah salam 0-0, kalau nak 1-0 balik silakanlah.
Benda boleh protes lah.
1-0 balik.
Kita tunggu setahun.
Tahun depan 0-0 balik.
Okay guys.
Okay, itu dia tuan-tuan. Anda telah pun menyaksikan perlumbaan seperti tadi yang mana XOX Unity League iRacing yang dibawakan khas pada malam ini.
Absolutely. So a special thanks before we go off and before I sign off, a special thanks goes out to our sponsors, 1XOX and XOX, who have been absolutely fantastic supporters of sim racing. A special thanks goes out to TKKR and Magpie, our event partners. TKKR, our racing partner as well, helping us out big time there. We have a lot of appreciation to all of those guys as well. A special shout out goes out as well to Android King and Precision Sim Racing, our sort of endemic sim racing sponsors there. Definitely helping us to help the industry, and it's fantastic to see that happen. So thumbs up from there. And of course, a special thanks to our partners at Gallery Kereta for bringing in all the new eyes and all the new faces to sim racing. All the attention that we've got from them has been absolutely brilliant. But of course, a special thanks has to go out to all the drivers in. Some of them are in the studio this evening. A special round of applause. Quite scared. Special round of applause to all the drivers. Give yourselves a round of applause. They're fantastic.
Cil, apa ayat tu Cil dulu Cil? Tahniah pada diri sendiri.
Tahniah kepada diri sendiri.
Yeah. Also, a special thanks to all of our commentators that have made this broadcast quite.
Malam ni kita ramai komentator, banyak komentator malam ni.
Ada sebut every corner tak nama?
Not every corner has a name.
Rasa untuk season 3 ni ada tak anugerah untuk komentator pula? Asyik driver dengan team je. Mungkin boleh buat vote daripada driver kan.
Takut Maicil curi lah nanti.
Itulah.
Nanti Maicil tak nak race.
Nanti dia curi. Ambil aja.
So a special thanks goes out, of course, to all of the crew that's been behind here, bringing the action to us. A special thanks to our commentators, myself, Max Palmer. We have Inche Bob in the house, Kelvin T, and introducing Javier Alvarez as our driving expert there. Michael Hafiz, our racing expert, and thanks to thanks also to Chan Wei Han there. As well. Thanks for reminding me. And thanks to all of the drivers who were involved in the broadcast, coming in and lending their insights. But a very, very, very special thanks to all of you, the audience at home. Without you guys watching in, these guys and us, we can't do what we do best, which is bring the excitement. So it's very special thanks to from all of us to all of you. But for now, that's it from myself, from Inche Bob, from Kelvin T, Javier Alvarez, Michael Hafiz, Chan Wei Hen, as well as Umar Aziz in our pit lane reporter, and our director Khairul Alang, and everyone else that's been involved in this broadcast, Javier Alvarez as well in there. But for now, that's it from all of us. Bye for now. Ta-ra.
Salam puasa.
Bye. Assalamualaikum.
Hai guys, saya Jai Android King, professional drifter, racer dan sim racer. Kalau korang mencari racing simulator, datanglah ke Android King. Kita ada Trustmaster T300 steering, Logitech G29, Simagic wheelbase, Super Street racing rig, triple monitor setup dan macam-macam lagi produk. Saya ingin menjemput anda datang ke Android King, nanti saya bagi harga baiknya.